Hey, hey, Schmagamagob, everybody. I don't know where Ian is. Here in the screen, it looks like he's down here. So, I'm Dr. Fuck, and with me is.
Oh yeah, Wadzilla baby, what's up, Ralph?
Nothing much, man. Hey, let the people know who's here, man. Don't be rude.
Oh shit, we got a special guest, man. You talked about doing this album. I said, hey, we got to get this guy, man. The fucking Polish podcaster himself, Chris Czynszak from Decibel Geek is with us tonight.
Fellas,
What's
how's
up?
it going? Happy to be here as always. Good to see both of you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for the invite.
You sound ecstatic.
I'm totally ecstatic. Thanks for having me.
I can tell you probably hungover because yesterday the refs played the Houston Texans.
Yep.
And the refs won. So you're going on in the playoffs. Congratulations.
Gotta thank the refs for the quest for the three-peat. Appreciate the help as always. But yeah, Kansas City flags, love them.
Wait, are you guys talking sports?
Yep.
Why?
Because we're men. That's why. Men watch sports.
America.
And us
America.
girly men love Manowar.
Well, yeah, you put that correctly.
You're here. You're a Man of War fan. Get used to it. I understand.
Hail and pick flowers.
What does this mean? Does this mean fist me? What the hell?
Yeah, exactly.
It goes along with all that baby oil.
When I go like this, it shows that it goes this much in the buttocks. You can't go further than this. I mean, not yet.
I give Ralph a lot of shit over fucking Man of War, but you know what? Slipknot has to have 9 people to make music that shitty. Man of War can do it in 4. So that's, got to give credit where credit's due. But that's not who we're here to talk about today.
Thank God, because you talked so much about it yesterday.
But we're here to talk about the Ramones, of course, Road to Ruin. One of my favorites, so I knew we had to have Chris here. But before that, let's get into some news, and we got some good news, and we got some sad news. Let's get the bad news out of the way first. Unfortunately, Ralph will not be appearing at this year's Rockin' Pod. And even more unfortunately, I will. So, we wanted to let the fans know this is something that came up. Ralph has a family obligation that he can't get out of, and it's totally understandable. But at least you guys know now. If you're still willing just to come see my ass, fucking come on down. I'm going to be there representing the Rock and Metal Combat podcast, and Ralph is going to be extremely missed. We've been to every Rockin' Pod, and Ralph's been there with me every step of the way. But I totally get it, And quite honestly, when Ralph wasn't going to go, I was kind of on the fence. But decided, fuck it, I'm going to go and fly the flag. And, if the listeners, show up, and we need you to show up. If you want these to keep going and to see Ralph next year, you got to come to this one. You got to make this shit a success. So, as it gets closer to it, I think we're going to run a contest, like, fuck for a weekend.
Those that are going, let us know, and we'll have a contest, and you can be Dr. Fuck for the whole weekend with Ian, and everybody will be saying your name before Ian's name.
There you go. It's it's tradition. It's tradition. Yeah. I need a new set of coattails.
It's a lot, and go and buy one of those jackets with coattails on it. You don't hang on it. Trust me, you're good at that.
You look look like Steve Perry on tour in 1981.
Yeah, with a little leopard shirt.
Oh God! No,
don't stop believing, Wadzilla.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I got to say, it is. It's gonna be weird not having you there, Ralph. I mean, it's always a great time, and we love hanging out with everybody, and you know, but I'm going to go there and, you know, make the most of it and have fun. And hey, man, show up, man. You can hang out with me, and, you know, any of you guys who have been to previous Rockin' Pods, you know, we've let listeners of the show fill in on interviews with us and stuff like that. And, you know, I'll definitely need some help, you know. Like, I'll need help. I need somebody to drive me around, you know. I'll need somebody to go get my beer and shit like that, you know. Who's going to be our new Chuck Charles Manson this year? Who can I take advantage of?
Oh boy, you said the name.
Oh,
I didn't
that's
hear
all right.
it. There's something wrong with his internet. It was breaking up.
You can bleep that out later.
Maybe Scott Stein will come back, the original MVP. That'd be nice.
Hey, by the way, Mark Alden Taylor, you can go now. I won't be there to treat you like shit like I did the last time.
Oh God, we're gonna dig that up now.
Yeah, why not? I'm digging up skeletons because I just love the drama. I love the drama.
Digging up bones. But yeah, man, it's gonna be awesome, you know, and there's still guests being announced, and I can't wait, and we're gonna have fun. I'm really looking forward to being able to spend more time with you this year, Chris.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
told that I'm probably more stoked than anybody because I actually get to hang out and enjoy this one. So, but yeah, I'm excited for that, and Aaron and I are actually gonna get to interview some people. That'll be nice, and then obviously get to hang out and enjoy all the festivities without running around like a crazy person and wondering how I'm gonna pay my mortgage the next month. So it's gonna be fun, and we just one we just announced was Robert Fleischman, former Vinnie Vincent Invasion vocalist. So,
a great guest on this show, man. That's one of our most popular episodes. It's in our top 10 episodes.
yeah, and he was great on my show too, and it was with mine because at the time he hadn't really been open at all about that period of time, and even he was on our friend Victor's show before that, and Victor was like, "Oh, he gave me nothing," you know, he just was tight-lipped about everything, and so I remember when we were setting it up, I was kind of following the Vinnie Vincent obsession at the time. Aaron was just kind of like whatever with it, and I was like, "Well, I'm going to do this interview with Robert Fleischman, but you probably don't even need to bother coming over here because I doubt he's going to give me anything." And then he just spilled his guts about everything, and it was crazy. But wound up being super cool, and yeah, and he was great on your show too. Like he's got a great sense of humor.
Oh yeah, I like when he said he drives like a fag. You know, before that kind of shit would get you canceled. You know.
You know, the funny reason he was on our show was because he saw my Vinnie Vincent review of the first album.
Yeah.
Where I said he sounded like a cat being hit over the head with a suitcase. I bashed the hell out of him in that episode. And he wrote me. And he said, "Hey, I saw your Vinnie Vincent episode." I was like, "Uh-oh." And he was like, "I agree 100% with you. I laughed my ass off. I thought it was great." And I was like, "Hey, will you do my podcast?" So that we got him because he reached out to me for a video where I bashed the hell out of him.
No, he told me on the interview he did with us that he was, you know, that style of singing, you know, Vinny wanted him to do that. And he even questioned him. He's like, "You sure you really want me to sing like that?" And he's like, "Yeah." So, but I don't think he ever was sold on how he sang on that record.
No,
It's funny. Ralph is like an abusive husband that a wife can't leave. The same thing happened with Mark Slaughter. Like you said, Mark Slaughter is horrible, and Mark Slaughter loves you. You know.
he and Mark are tight, man. He texts me a Merry Christmas.
Right on.
You know,
Super nice guy.
I text him happy birthday and you know Thanksgiving and shit. You know, we don't talk, but you know we reach out once or twice a year, like, "Hey, Merry this," you know. He's a nice guy, man. He sent me an album that's really good. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not a Slaughter fan, but he did an album called Mark Slaughter,
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't sing in that high voice, and it's really, really good. The last song on the album reminds me of a very catchy Paul McCartney and Wings song.
Yeah. I heard they're working on a Slaughter documentary. That could be interesting.
Yeah, we talked about that on the show not long ago. It's kind of like, wow, they'll make the, you know, and I like Slaughter just fine, but like, man, they'll make a documentary on any band, you know, if you got a Slaughter one. But I don't know. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
I think a documentary like that could be far more interesting because they're a prime example of a band that like blew up out the gate, and then by the second album it was done. You know,
Well, yeah, look when they came
Wildlife
out.
they shit the bed. But when that first one came out, I mean, they were huge. And Ralph and I both talked about, seeing the Hot in the Shade tour, and them and the other opening band. I saw Hot in the Shade twice. Once it was Slaughter and Winger, and the other time it was Slaughter and Faster Pussycat. And those two bands were a big reason for the success of that tour because the album itself. I mean, it was a great. Kiss put on a great show. I mean, they brought back the older songs on that tour. It was a great one, but what got asses in the seats was shit like Slaughter and Winger and Faster Pussycat, because they were all.
That was my first show, and it was Slaughter and Danger Danger. No, not that Danger Danger sold any tickets, but I know Slaughter definitely brought some people.
I didn't see either one. I just saw Kiss that night.
Where did you see him at?
Miami Arena. And, it was a ritual, even back to Sportatorium days. And then after Sportatorium, we had the Miami Arena. It was tradition to drink like a bottle of Jack outside before walking in. And I was doing it that night as well. I did that. I remember David Lee Roth came with Extreme and another band I didn't like. And I drank outside and walked in and saw David Lee Roth.
I saw David Lee Roth on Little Ain't Enough tour. It was Extreme and Cinderella. On Cinderella.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I did go inside to see Cinderella. Yeah, I remember that now. I dig me some Cinderella.
Yeah. But no, I think that, because that's what I love in documentaries and even like in bands' autobiographies. I've said this a million times. I won't start with like, I was a little kid with dreams. No, I go to that one album, that the one that shit the bed. And I read from there on out. I love all the dirt. Then I'll go back and get the fluff shit, But that'd be interesting. He is such a nice guy. We've met him. Well, we met him at two different Rockin' Pods or just one?
Just one. The first one. He was there.
I remember, I think it was you, Ian. You or Bushy, one of you two. Said, hey, man, there's Mark Slaughter. Let's go get a picture. Can you take a picture with me and him? I'm like, all right. So I went, and when I went to go take the picture, Mark Slaughter goes, Dr. Fuck.
Yeah, that was me, because the funny thing is I had that done for my wife, who was my ex-wife at the time, and we didn't even talk. I mean, in the quarter of a century we were divorced, we didn't really, other than when we had to, but she was a huge Slaughter fan. I'm like, I'll do it to be nice. And I sent her that picture, and then she told me she cropped me out of the picture and kept the one of Mark Slaughter.
Now, wait a minute. So you're saying that a picture with you and Mark Slaughter taken at the first Rockin' Pod was what opened the door for you to reconnect with your wife?
Oh, no, it was years after that.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, damn, we get credit for that. That's awesome.
It was years. I thought she'd be all nice about it, and I don't even know if I got a thank you for it or anything, no. Grandchildren brought us back together. Mark Slaughter, though, she just, like I said, she cropped me out and kept the picture.
That's funny. We're just a thumbs up. Thanks.
Yeah.
Ian,
new phone, who this?
Ian reconnected with his wife because he sent her a picture of him all oiled up in a Manowar shirt.
Works every time.
And she's like, great, a beard. Shit. But now I'm looking forward to making some memories at Rockin' Pod, man.
You talking about documentary? Have you guys both seen the Y&T documentary?
No.
I've had it for a while.
It's really good. I'm not crazy about Eddie Trunk narrating it, but it's good otherwise.
No, it's awesome. It's long as fuck, but and the extras are great.
Yeah, well, they go into, they talk about every album in depth. That if you're a nerd about that stuff, you will love it. It goes very in depth.
That's the kind of shit I like. Go through the albums and stuff like that. I hate when they gloss over shit, or they'll talk about the popular album and then just kind of like, here's a 6-album span and we'll give it, 2 minutes,
No, it covers everything.
I'm trying to, like I said, there's sometimes I listen to his voice, man, and all I hear is Sammy Hagar, and that's what kind of attracts me.
Well, Sammy Hagar was an influence on him for sure.
But I always think back to when I did my radio show and somebody requested Y&T, and I was like, I'm just gonna pick an album I don't know because the only thing I knew and liked was Contagious. Yeah. And I just looked, Dirty Girl, that sounds good. And I heard that song and I was like, fucking A, is this a badass song?
Well, that's the thing with Y&T is like there's a fine line between cheesy and cool. And they go beyond each each way too much.
That Summertime Girl shit though is fucking terrible.
Yeah, but I see why it was a hit, though. I mean, for 1985, it fits perfectly for that year.
You know that the diehard Y&T fans and the band Y&T hate Summertime Girls? They all hate it.
I think they hate Contagious, too.
The hardcore Y&T fans, you know?
Yeah.
Like me, I hate that fucking song. That song.
I like it.
That song reeks of 80s.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it sounds like 1985.
I like Mean Street fucking forever.
Although, man, I like most of their albums, but there's one that they made that I think is just horrible. It's called Down for the Count. Came out like 85, 86.
Yeah, by that time I gave up because In Rock We Trust had its moments.
I like that one.
It had its moments, but you know, it was a downgrade for me after Black Tiger, Mean Street, and those three albums to me is the pinnacle. Y&T. They've done some good shit after, but
yeah, well, I thought the album 10 was a good record. It just wrong timing.
Yeah.
That was the one after Contagious, right?
Yeah. With Jimmy DeGrasso. Well, supposed to be Jimmy DeGrasso on drums, but they actually hired Steve Smith from Journey, and he played the whole record.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, that's covered in the documentary, and they interview all of them about it. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, well, let's see if we do have some news that's sprung up since we just recorded the night before. You guys are going to be seeing this episode a week later. Probably, like something major is going to happen. Like, why did they talk about that? Or why isn't Ian happy that Sammy Hagar died?
Yeah, this episode is being recorded a week before we put it up. So, after we put it up, who knows? Somebody might have died or...
Let's hope not.
Yeah. Well, depends who it is,
Oh, geez.
All right, Bruce Dickinson just took place or participated in an old folks fencing competition.
Really?
That's kind of gay,
I don't know. I'm on the fence about it.
Fencing. I don't know who the fuck. I don't get it. It's like you're playing swords, but you don't have swords. I don't get it. I don't get it. But he's been doing this shit since fucking. Back in Somewhere in Time tour and shit. He was all
funny you mentioned that, Ian, because on the Somewhere in Time tour, I wasn't there, but a bunch of my friends went in Hialeah at Westlawn Mall. Bruce Dickinson was there fencing on the day they played Sportatorium on the Somewhere in Time. I found this out at the concert. I was at the concert, and all my friends were like, we met Bruce Dickinson at Westlawn Mall in Hialeah. I was like, what? So, and he was fencing, and that was Somewhere in Time tour. True story.
Weird. Yeah, but fencing. I mean, it's like, okay, you're playing swords, but it's like playing beer pong, but with non-alcoholic beer. It's
hard to do more than one tournament if you're using real swords.
Yeah, but that just shows you don't believe in yourself.
Yeah, you have to really believe in yourself.
You get a sword, you go out there, you kill that motherfucker. That's what I think. Michael Schenker says, pure self-expression, that's where my rewards come. That's where I'm happy. He also went on to say that the best band he was ever part of was Rat. And I agree. I
don't know,
But
man.
God, what a weird, who got to see that shit? Was that just Japan and people who were at the Unplugged? I think that's the only shit he did with them was the Japanese tour of Detonator and the MTV Unplugged.
I don't care. I'd rather see him now because he's got Eric Gronwald singing for him on tour. That's going to be badass. Eric Gronwald's a god.
Yeah, but that's not coming into the States, is it?
No.
That's what I thought.
It's cool.
That's how much Skid Row sucks. You quit to go play with Michael Schenker for fucking 20 people.
No. Okay.
I'm just saying.
Ian is the epitome of fake news.
Saying.
My God.
Skid Row sucks. That's not fake news, especially without Sebastian Bach.
Who do you think's going to be the next singer?
I think it's going to be. I think they're going to go with an unknown.
Yeah,
I
they
really
probably
do, because
should.
if you get somebody that's known, you have to pay money. Okay, and right now it's you got that Rachel Bolan, Snake Sabo, Scotty Hill getting the majority of everything. You got a drummer you probably pay next to nothing to. You get another unknown. I mean, and they can find somebody who can sing. I mean, that Eric Gromwell dude was just fucking amazing. They really lucked out there, but they can find somebody who can pull it off. But I think when you're at that level, it's not going to behoove you to get somebody you have to really give money to.
I think Sammy Hagar is going to join the band.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, he was just as big as them. When he joined the band, and by big I mean fat fuck. But I mean, like, look at what Great White does. With Brett Carlisle, who we interviewed at the last Rockin' Pod. That kid can sing his fucking ass off, but he ain't getting that T-shirt money. He getting a little something something, and that's how these bands are. Once they start whittling down, you get a little bit, and it goes to the old timers. And that's how I think a lot of them will keep it, because look how tough it is to go out and play now and make money. They're not going to make it harder on themselves.
I just wish people would stop with the whole Sebastian needs to come back bullshit. It's not going to happen.
Well, he does, though. He does, for any credibility, for anybody.
I agree.
I agree. I'd rather they all fucking go homeless. Fuck them all if they bring Sebastian Bach back. Sebastian Bach is a fucking downgrade. Yeah, people want him back because people don't care. People will go see fucking Kiss with two imposters. Yep. You think they're gonna care?
No, they go to see Vince Neil croak out whatever the fuck he's doing.
That's a prime example. Motley cannot go out there with any other singer. Yeah, they can fuck over Mick Mars. I can even see them do it without Nikki, but not Vince and Tommy. Both those people need to be there.
Yep.
And they can suck to high hell, but people will pay to see it instead of seeing somebody that can go up on stage and play well. Like to go and the whole thing with Skid Row, I'm sorry, Sebastian Bach and Skid Row were playing the same fucking venues. I saw the same fucking venues. And if they reunite with Sebastian Bach, come on, it's got to be a big package deal for an amphitheater, or they'll be playing the same goddamn clubs I saw Skid Row and Sebastian Bach. There's not a demand for it. There really isn't. I really don't think if they get Sebastian Bach back, it's going to be that successful. It'll start off good, and then people see it and realize how much Sebastian sucked. They'll go back.
Well, like if I was given free tickets to, or a chance to go, because I wouldn't go out of my way to see either one. But if I had my pick to go see Skid Row with, singer number 27 or Sebastian Bach, I'm going to go see Sebastian Bach, And I think that's how most people are. I mean, you don't agree.
Yeah, but people like mediocrity.
Do you think he sounds that bad, though? I mean, I've seen live. I don't think he's that bad.
He's bad. He's not that great. And on top of that, he now censors his own songs.
Oh, I heard about this.
The Sweet Little Sister.
I didn't hear this.
Sweet Little Sister, the line "Kicking Ass on a Queer." He changed that. He changed the whole line and "Get the Fuck Out" where it says, "When I puke, I drink. Bitch, get me a drink because I'm paying for the room." Blah, 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 whatever. He made all that shit up, and it sucked. And I said it a million times, man. I saw the Slave to the Grind tour. I saw Skid Row playing Living in a Chain Gang, and Sebastian could not hit those fucking notes. I'm talking about 1991. Eric Ronwall, who's already in his 30s, nailed that shit with ease. I'd rather go see Skid Row with Eric Ronwall than fucking Sebastian Bach. That fucking overhyped asshole. And he's a prick, man. He's a prick.
You don't have to tell me.
Johnny Solinger dies, right? Sebastian Bach gets mad that somebody put his picture on some website saying Johnny Solinger of Skid Row died. with a picture of Sebastian Bach. Sebastian Bach didn't even say one condolence. He just got pissed off that somebody put a picture of him on some website that said Johnny Solinger. What a douchebag. I'm sorry. He's worse than Sammy Hagar. He's the biggest douche in music, period.
Wow.
Well, I think it's
86 and Paul Stanley of Kiss all fucking bow to his douchiness.
Well, I think it's in poor taste anyway that when Johnny Salinger passed away, they mentioned he was lead singer of Skid Row. It's like, stop kicking the guy while he's down. I saw him with Johnny Salinger on the Kiss reunion tour, and was it? Or no, it was the farewell tour.
I saw him on that tour too.
Yeah, it was Skid Row with Johnny Salinger
Ted
and
Nugent.
Ted Nugent. Yeah, and Skid Row was fucking terrible. Terrible.
I saw them with Solinger, and they were fucking awesome.
Really?
They were pretty good when they played here.
Now, I mean, the Kiss show is a little distracting, but after they played with Kiss on the farewell tour, they headlined the Culture Room, and I went that night, and they were fucking awesome. They were playing songs from Subhuman Race, which they would never do now. But
Oh, wow.
Rachel hates it, but they did Medicine Jar. They did Eileen. And I know they did Beat Yourself Blind, Frozen. They did 4 or 5 songs from Subhuman Race. They would never play any of that shit now.
Dude, Eileen, that's my favorite song on the album. Fuck.
And Solinger was great that night. He's not as good as Sebastian in his prime, that I would think. But he held his own. He was all right.
Awesome. All right, what else we got here? I haven't watched any of the footage yet. I know Ralph could give 2 shits about this. Probably never heard them. I don't know if you have, Chris, but Snot has gotten back together with a new singer.
Yeah, I mean, I liked Snot back then, but the singer Lynn Straight died. That's the whole reason the band broke up. So it's kind of hard to take it seriously personally.
Yeah, I haven't watched.
He died with his dog.
Yeah.
And his dog was on the album cover. See, I know a little bit about them.
Okay.
And they're a great song called My Balls, Your Chin.
Yeah. My balls.
I want to put them on your chin.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't like, my best friend was a real big fan of that album, Get Some. I didn't mind him, but it was one of those, like, man, I really can't imagine him without Len Straight, because he was such a important part of the band. And, they did that tribute album after he died where all these different guys were singing.
Yeah, there's cool stuff on that. The LaJean Witherspoon song especially is really good. Angel's Son is a good song.
Yeah, but they went with an unknown. There was all this stuff because they were, they're saying, hey, we're rehearsing with this singer, but we're not showing the face and everything. But then before the first show, they finally did announce that, hey, this is nobody, we didn't poach anybody from another band. It's no name. It's just some guy we found that fits it. I need to watch some of the footage and see, but
I just heard they were doing a show, but I didn't know anything about who they hired, or I'll have to check that out too.
But, it's kind of like when Static X got back together and, they won't tell you who it is, but everybody knows it's Edsel Dope from Dope.
I don't begrudge the remaining band members of a guy that died trying to make a buck. If they were part of it, that's their right to try to make money off of it. So I don't blame them.
Yeah, and I like Static X. Their first.
That's a shit band if ever there was. Yeah. I saw. Is that the one with the guy with the hair?
Yeah. Wayne Static.
Rob Zombie's brother, right?
No, that's the guy in Power Man 5000.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Power Man 5000, I saw at Ozfest. Holy shit, did they suck.
Well, the funny thing is, I saw Static X open for Power Man 5000. And Static X, it's one of those, when you talk about, have you ever seen an opening act blow the headliner off the stage? And it's not that I thought Power Man was that bad that night, but Static X, just wiped the floor, had the crowd way more than Power Man and everything. I really liked the first album, Wisconsin Death Trip. The albums that after that, there'd be like I'd like a song or two, but I didn't think any of the albums were nearly as solid as that. And even that one, it's not like it's in my top 10 or anything, but I dug it. They were a good live band, though.
Oh, Ian, that's fabulous. Now let's talk about Cold Chamber.
I saw them open up for Pantera.
I saw them at Ozfest, another shit band.
Yeah, it was Cold Chamber and Anthrax opened up for Pantera.
Yeah, man, looking back, yeah, I saw that tour, but maybe Cold Chamber was there. I didn't go in. But, man, looking back, Ozfest really was shit. You know?
Oh, yeah.
You had to go through so much crap to see, like, the cool headliners. You know, it was, you know, Ozzy or Black Sabbath, Slayer, you know, those were the later bands. Pantera, you know, those bands were great. Motorhead, there was one year I went where Motorhead headlined the second stage.
Yep, I went to that.
I thought they blew every band away that day.
That was the Snakebite Love tour.
Dude, they owned Megadeth, everybody.
Oh yeah, that was a real good show. That was one of the rare ones. I didn't go to the West Palm for that. They actually did one in Orlando, and I went to all the other ones I saw in West Palm. But no, yeah, you're absolutely right, man. Motorhead was, I think that was my first Motorhead. I believe so. And then I saw them the tour after that. They headlined on their own. I saw them at House of Blues and shit like that a couple times. But no, they were amazing. But yeah, there was a lot. You look back at the fucking Ozfest, and my whole thing with the festival shows, I mean, it's kind of cool. You get to see multiple bands, but you know, if you're not the headliner, you know, it's an abbreviated set. It's usually condensed to a greatest hits thing. And that's what sucks, because when I go see these bands, I want to see deep tracks. I want to see the shit I like. I don't want the radio songs. You know, they were on the radio, but you know what I mean? I want to hear deeper shit. But, I mean, it was cool for what it was. It was, you know, an experience at the time. A bunch of metalheads getting together, baking in the Florida sun and everyone I went to. God damn, it could be hot in fucking West Palm. Holy shit. Good times, though.
I hated it. I don't know why I kept going.
Well, and that's the thing that sucked is you get Ozzy, who's doing the same set list. You know, he might change one song. And there was a lot of those times that Ozzy sounded like fucking horseshit, but he knew how to work the crowd regardless. You know, but, you know, seeing Sabbath a couple times was fantastic, you know.
That was the best.
I never thought I'd see.
The greatest moment in Ozfest was when I saw the reunion. I've never seen the original four, and it was the first show of that tour, and Ozzy sounded I never heard Ozzy sound that good. It was awesome, man. It was fucking amazing.
That's the one where they played Scary Dreams and shit, right?
No, Scary Dreams was after that. Scary Dreams was the tour after that. That was just classic shit.
Yeah. Because I remember the first one was the one with Mike Borden, and then
I saw that as well. Then Bill Ford came the next time.
Right.
That was awesome. Mike Borden was just not a fucking good fit for that band. I don't think
it was bad.
Weird. I had this guy on my Almost Human show not too long ago, and he said, you know, he used to be a truck driver for Black Sabbath, right?
Yeah.
He said he was working one of those Ozfest shit, and he went up to Mike Borden and he goes, "Hey, Mike, you ruined any fucking classic albums lately?" He was talking about the Diary of a Madman.
Right.
And he went cry to Sharon and they fired him.
Oh shit!
Wow!
Surprise, surprise.
Yep.
But I think I'm excited because Chris, I don't know. Can we talk about somebody who played with Black Sabbath that's going to be at Rockin' Pod yet, or should I keep that under wraps?
Black Sabbath? Who are you talking about?
A certain drummer.
God, I'm blanking right now. Go ahead and say it. I'll tell you. Well, I don't know who you're talking about, to be honest with you.
Okay,
that played with Black Sabbath?
Yeah, that's going to be at Rockin' Pod.
Alan Schwartzberg.
No, I don't know I honestly don't know who you're talking about.
I can't pronounce his last name.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, can I mention that or no?
I don't know if he's confirmed.
Oh,
He's not
okay.
confirmed. He's not confirmed yet.
Oh, well, anyway, the guy who's not confirmed, I think, is the only guy other than Bill Ward that ever got Bill Ward's drumming right, and that includes Vinny Appice. I love Vinny Appice, but he's no Bill Ward, you know. But there could possibly at Rockin' Pod be the second best drummer, in Black Sabbath.
It's possible. You never
No,
know.
Toby Paul died.
What's that?
That's yeah.
Yeah, no, this guy did honor to Sabbath.
And we're not talking about Eric Singer.
Yeah, no, and we're not talking about Bev Bevan.
He is a legend though.
Yeah. NELO.
Hell yeah. Was it?
Oh,
Man, interesting thing. You know, John Gallagher from Raven was on my show this past week. And he was talking about that Sharon wanted to manage Raven at that time. And then in the middle of the meeting, her brother walked in, Sharon's brother, and Don Arden. And they started a big fight, and John walked out. And then John told the story how he heard that Don Arden got Jeff Lynne hanging over a fucking balcony like they did to Vanilla Ice, threatening him to sign papers and shit.
Wow.
Don Arden was mafia, you know?
oh yeah, no, that dude was a beast, man. But it's funny you mentioned Raven right before we were recording this. After I did my notes for this album, I was just kind of like, somehow I'd just scroll through my iTunes, and stop in a random place and pick something. And I listened to the last Raven album. God damn, was that good?
Oh yeah, All Hell's Breaking Loose. That was my that's my favorite album of 2023.
Yeah, man, that was really. It's one of those I was like, okay, I'll listen to it and forgot about it. Like, man, let me check this shit out. Fuck, that was good.
They got an EP coming out, and I heard one song off it so far. Fucking awesome. I pre-ordered it.
Nice.
They've been releasing nothing but amazing albums. The past 4 or 5 albums have been fucking amazing. But I will say the best out of all of them was that one, All Hell's Breaking Loose. That album's phenomenal.
And that show, did you go to the show, Chris? Was that the first
I wasn't.
Rocket Pod?
I wasn't able to.
Oh man, was that good?
I wish I
love
had.
that venue too. That was
The
that
basement.
was great,
Yeah.
man. And there was when they saw Ralph, man, they're like, Ralphie, how you they were super cool, man, and they just destroyed up on stage. It was awesome.
Yeah,
Really?
those two guys are my niggas.
You remember when we interviewed Dick Wagner when he came into town for our show?
Yeah,
He had
great
done
episode.
he had done a concert that weekend in Nashville, and that was where he did it. So like we saw him play there too.
Oh wow, that'd been cool.
Yeah,
I love that. Is that still going on?
The basement. Yeah, they still do shows there.
Metallica played there.
Yeah, that's where Metallica played
Yeah.
for that surprise show. That was crazy.
Rocket Pod this year, is that at the same venue as last year?
Yeah, it's at the Nashville Fairgrounds, and
Oh, I like that. I like that venue.
yeah, we actually get to stay at one for a change. We every year before this one, it was a different venue every time. But
Yeah.
and then we're doing a rare hair show for the pre-party, just like we did last year. But this time it'll be at Third and Lindsley, which is a club that's closer to the fairgrounds, so it's not as much of a trek. Although at the venue we did the pre-party at last year, I think we're going to have for the after party. And I don't know if people are going to hear this before. It looks like we're going to have a show with Tuck Smith at that venue, and then it also, well, I can't confirm this yet, but it's likely that a comedy show will happen again this time.
Awesome. And I loved, what was the venue, that place, I think it closed, was the one where the bar was up top. What was that? You know where I'm talking about? It was a building and you had to go up to the top and shit. And
Mercy Lounge.
yeah, that was a cool venue. That's not around anymore.
No, it reopened under new branding. So at least the cannery side, the big side that we didn't use, is open again, but it's new ownership, and it's every time I look at their listings, I'm like, who? So So I'm too old. Yeah.
That was a good one. I loved the one place when, God damn it, you can't talk about Rockin' Pod without Rockin' Ron.
Mm.
Uh,
The Cobra.
where I was high as fuck, and Ron jumped up taking pictures, and I was scared shitless. I was like, "The fuck, I'm seeing shit. What's going on here?"
You started thinking he was the second shooter on the grassy knoll.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. God damn it, I miss that son of a bitch.
I think of him all the time. I still think of him regularly. But as time goes on, I think back to memories like that where he made me laugh because man, he could fucking make us laugh. So yeah, he's one of the funniest human beings ever.
Oh yeah. And I know you love the story I talk about when we walked past his hotel room and he had the door open.
Well, yeah, because it's because I grew up in Nashville, and like that hotel's like notorious for like being kind of a seedy motel. There's a place called the Fiddler's Inn, which the name alone is bad enough, you know.
And then he ended up going to McDonald's with me and Ralph, and you could tell he still wasn't sure of us, but we had a good time.
But Ian's doing the recap episode, and he's talking about like, yeah, and then we walked across the parking lot and we see Rockin' Ron in his room at the Fiddler's Inn with his door open, you know, trying to welcome children.
Yeah.
Even he got a huge laugh out of that because it was just so funny. But yeah, it was yeah, that was quite a year. But yeah, Rockin' Ron, man, miss him all the time.
And then the fucking Wild Side episode when he had the fucking Coke post nasal drip going on.
That show was fucking insane because he's there with us. You know, we're digging the album. Then, like, we'd say, all right, Ron, what do you think of this song? He's like, wow, it was pretty good. Yeah. And then me and Ian slam it hard. And he goes, yeah, now I think about it. Yeah, it ain't that good.
That was like the greatest compliment, though, was seeing the drummer and the lead singer at Rockin' Pod from Wild Side. And the drummer's like, these are the guys. They did that episode. He goes, they liked it, but he goes, they kicked us in the ass where we needed it. And I was like, oh, man, that's so killer. But he generally loved that episode. Mm. And again, like, look at the shit with Ralph, you know, where he's giving his honest opinion, you know, and for people who can handle that, I mean, could you imagine like Nikki Sixx, if you said anything bad about a Motley Crue record, he'd never talk to you, you know, and these guys are just cool, down to earth guys. And,
well, I'll tell you,
episode, Ron, man, goddamn.
But you're right though. And I hate to say it, but that's like the people that kind of get it. That type of humor are more the exception than the rule. It's sad how you know how sensitive, especially anybody in the arts. You know, there's a lot of sensitivity there. So it's a lot to navigate. But let me stop and give you guys some props because I was watching one of your recent episodes and I just still, as much as you guys bust balls and you have great jokes and it's always funny, I just have to give y'all credit, man. The way that you guys have like an encyclopedic knowledge of stuff, like albums and song titles and stuff, and how good your memory is for where you were, what you were doing at the time and stuff like that. I'm just saying, I listen to a lot of shows because I'm still helping out with Rockin' Pod, so I'm always researching other shows. You guys have like the best recall of hosts that I've seen. You're not reading off Wikipedia. You just have that shit right here in your head. So props to both of you for that.
Well, thank you.
It's all I know. Yeah. I can't fucking add 2 and 2, but I remember who produced what Kiss album, what label it was on, what year it came out.
And oddly enough, out of all these years, finally it's paying off. This useless knowledge I have, I'm now making money with this useless knowledge. But before I made money, all I did was accumulate. I mean, seriously, and here's the thing. I would get shit drunk at every show I saw in the 80s. And I can tell you, you name a show I went to, I can tell you the set list. Not in order how they played it, but I can tell you what was played that night. If, I have to be a big fan of the band and know all their music. Yeah. But I can tell you any band that I saw in the 80s, I know what they played and what they didn't play. I always remember that. I have this memory where now, if they play something rare, I'll remember, but I can't remember a whole set list anymore. And I'm sober now.
But the funny thing is, my wife always talks about, like, I can't believe you can remember that shit. She's like, if there's only a way you could make money off of that. And I'm like,
I
yeah,
know.
I haven't cracked that code yet. But Ralph puts on, a lot of,
Well,
hard work into what he does,
the thing is, it's amazing to me. It floors me how people will pay me for my musical opinion. I appreciate those people so much. It's so awesome. Yeah, and most of them. Look, I gotta show you this. There's a guy that donates to me, and he sent me this in the mail because he really got into my band because of my channel, and he bought. Look, that's him and his wife both in Thrasher Die shirts.
nice.
That's Dennis Turney Jr. and his wife Melissa. And
Nice.
what he does, like he'll donate for me to do track by tracks of bands he discovered through my channel. And let me tell you, without even making money, and Ian can attest to this because Ian has, and Chris can attest to this as well. When we get somebody telling us, man, you got me into that band.
Yeah. That's the best.
That shit's worth more than money to me.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Because that's the best feeling is when you discover something that's just fucking killer, and then you say, "Hey, check this out," and then they come in like, "Holy shit, you're right." That's just like that's the best feeling because you get to turn them on to that.
I just saw a comment, the episode we just posted today doing Rat, and now we're doing the the YouTube version and the podcast version. And the guy wrote, he's like, never got into this band. He goes, but I'm excited to check out the episode. Maybe you guys can turn me on to it or something, And I love, like, a lot of people write in the comments, hey, what's that song that Ralph put in the episode? They might know the band, but they're like, I never heard that song. What? And I love that excitement, that people pick up on that and catch that. That's the fucking best, man.
Yeah, those are people still going to Podbean.
But to let people know though, and I can't remember if I mentioned this on another episode, but there is an app called SoundHound.
Yeah, you did. You did yesterday.
Yeah. Check it out. If you hear something, I don't know how to work with us talking if it'll still catch it, but usually that app's pretty good. Like it only takes a couple of seconds, and it'll tell you the artist, the song title, the album. It's a free app.
Yeah, I used to use an app called Shazam that did that. Yeah,
but no, I love anything to get anybody excited or turn somebody on to something new because, and I love getting turned on, if you haven't heard it, it's new to you. There's so much old shit, that I discover later in life that either I put on the back burner or whatever, and then like, holy shit, now you have this whole catalog or a whole new band. It's new to you, and it's fucking fantastic. And that is the best, besides just joking around with my friends, that is the great thing to give the gift of, somebody discovering their new favorite band or, something new to get into. It's awesome.
Something I started doing lately, I'll just go on YouTube and pick a year and I'll put 1972 full album and it'll just put up thousands of things, and I'll just, that looks cool. And I'll listen to that. I've found, quite a few really cool records just doing that.
Oh yeah, I found a lot of cool old stuff from going on the rabbit hole on YouTube.
Yeah,
I find like a lot of that good, what they called back then, acid rock.
Acid rock.
The real heavy stuff, for that time.
What's the first record you remember buying with your own money?
Kansas Left Overture.
That's a good way to start.
I remember vividly, man. I saw the movie Heroes that starred Henry Winkler and Sally Fields. And when the movie ended, they played Carry On My Wayward Son. And I stayed and I looked at the credits. And there was a record store. It was kind of like a little shopping mall where the theater was.
All right.
And I went in the record store and looked for Kansas. And I found Left Overture that day. And
wow.
It's still it's an extremely important album for me. That album, I fucking worship that fucking album. Because that's all I had. I had that in 45s. I had Killer Queen, Benny and the Jets, Little Willie from the Sweet. I had 45, but I never owned an album. And Kansas was the first. Then I really got into ELO before Kiss opened the floodgates.
The Not Left Overture, but on Point of No Return. They recorded that here in Nashville at Woodland Sound Studios in East Nashville, and that studio's still there and still operates.
Wow.
Yep, I go get pizza over there regularly. It's right across from it.
Very cool.
All right, well, I'm gonna since you both have gotten up, let me get up and grab a beer and take a piss real quick.
All righty. What we can talk about, Ralph, is Vivian Campbell just missed a Def Leppard show due to cancer treatments. Which
Hey, that guy's had cancer for years. It's been like 10 years.
Yeah, seems like it. And this was like they're not doing a tour or anything. This is one of those corporate gigs, where they, Kiss does a lot of it. A lot of bands actually do this shit though, where private people pay you to come out there and do your shit. And I think this was in Mexico, and he didn't show up. And I guess what's his name? Joe Elliott announced 2 songs in that hey, he's not here because he's getting cancer shit. And they had their guitar tech. Unfortunately, they can't afford Steve Brown now because he got so rich off that last Ace Frehley solo album. He charges more now. But nah, man, I hope he's all right, man. Vivian Campbell, incredible guitar player. I hate seeing him wasted in Def Leppard, but fuck it. That's why he can afford cancer meds. Is that Def Leppard gig?
Oh yeah, for sure. Def Leppard pays well.
But I love that he has stepped out and he's done the last in line, even though, some of it's better than other shit. They've done 3 albums but I love seeing him play heavier shit and using more of his talent than what he does, being, fake Steve Clark, but
fuck that.
Whatever.
But whatever.
When did you ever meet Vivian Campbell?
No. Unfortunately, I never have.
Yeah. I didn't know when you saw Last in Line if you got to meet him or not.
Yeah, I saw the very last in Line show with Jimmy Bain.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He died 2 days later on that boat. The Def Leppard cruise.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
like death on stage, man. I remember my friend Mike was like, bro, man, Jimmy Bain. I was like, yeah, he looks really bad, man. And little did I know, he was 2 days away from death. And he died of lung cancer, and he didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Because
that's sad.
He never went to...
When you see some of these guys, especially at that age, I kind of wonder what the ratio is, guys who still want to play at that age or guys that, have to get any kind of income, because some, I've always talked about this. My son thinks anybody who's put out a record is a millionaire. And I'm like far from it, and I think there's a lot of these guys that keep going just because they have to, and they don't think a lot of their listeners probably have better health care and better insurance than what they have, and, and especially guys who yeah, you were in a popular band, but you weren't one of the primary songwriters. So you don't get that residual check and shit like that. People who just, they're in a band, but they don't write the songs. They get money from touring and t-shirt sales if they're lucky enough to be an original member, and t-shirt sales figure very promptly in the band we're going to talk about today. One member left the band. Richie Ramone quit the Ramones because he saw nothing of the Ramones t-shirt money because he was an original member. And at the time, they made more money off their tour, off their t-shirts than they did off the records and the tours. So, yeah, some of these guys have to keep playing, whether they're healthy or not, or maybe they're physically ready to retire but haven't. We talked in the last episode that there's rumors that that's what it is with Zetro. He's just he left Exodus not out of any big fight or anything, but just doesn't want to go out and tour anymore. So
much like Sammy Hagar, right?
Oh, fuck Sammy Hagar. Fucking, oh God, I wish he would. I want him to keep touring because it enhances the chances of him dying. Maybe there's a plane crash, maybe, he catches fucking, COVID or some shit, that's what I want. I don't want him sitting at home in a bubble, like living till he's fucking 90. I want to live long enough to see him fucking die. It's like, I got this checklist, my son's a man. He's got a family. He's doing great. You're like, okay, that job's done, Now I just need to live, I did this podcast, I've had a good life. I just want to live long enough to see that motherfucker dead. And then his Tin fans cry, because I would use that shit as lube. I would, put the tears in a vial and, use it as fucking lube like P. Diddy does baby oil.
Well, I was just about to ask you if you have a plan in place for what you're going to do. So it sounds like you've already got it planned.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've thought about this shit for years. Decades.
I know exactly what's going to happen when Sammy Hagar dies. Everybody's going to fucking attack me for being so cold toward him, and nobody's going to say a word to Ian. And I'm not the guy wishing death on him.
Yeah, you got a good point.
Oh yeah,
but he did it with a wink and a smile.
Yeah, when it comes to Sammy, it's way more Ian than Ralph.
Yeah, it's amazing. It is amazing how Ian gets a free pass with all this shit he says, and I get blamed for not saying it.
Because I'm huggable and lovable,
I don't wish death on Sammy. I really don't. But I will continue to say he sucks.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm kind of, not to quote Kiss here, but there's two sides of the coin. Part of me wants him to live like a long life, but have it be miserable. Like I'd like to see him lose everything to like Bitcoin and shit like that, and be broke and, go back to playing the fairs where he belongs.
You have to think that Alex's book really hit him hard. With wrapping everything up in 84 and then going out in interviews and doubling down on it, going, that's when the magic was.
What's funny though, I mean, if you're on Facebook, which is a cesspool of hate to begin with, but seeing all the fucking, Sammy Hagar fans that have turned on Alex, they're like, oh, Alex is a fucking piece of shit. Sammy saved him and blah, blah, blah. And boy, he's like public enemy number one. Yeah, well, but yet they still worship Eddie, who fired his ass, twice. Yeah. It's like,
if the book was called The Van Halen Story, you'd have an argument. Yeah. But it's not. It's called Brothers. It's about him and his brother.
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought it was like a blaxploitation thing. When I saw it. Brother. Two guys started a funk band, and then it turned into Van Halen. But it's funny to see people turn. People get in their fucking cults, But hey, I'm in my fucking bubble too, so I can't throw stones because I'm in my bubble.
Have you heard Roth's version of Baker Street?
Oh, I love it.
Great,
that's been for a while, but I know people are. I love that. I love this cover of Jenny 8675309.
Oh, I haven't heard that one yet.
Oh, it's really good. I mean, he's in his wheelhouse. He doesn't try to go over what he can do. Yeah. But I mean, as much as he is my Lord and Savior, all those other songs he released off that unreleased John 5 thing, I thought sucked.
Yeah, I wasn't happy with it.
And I'll call it. I mean, just because he's my fucking God doesn't mean he's infallible.
What was
he's just like real God. Real God created French people. So he's not perfect.
What is the deal with you and French people? Who hurt you that was French?
Well, I think it's the language hurts my ears. It sounds like baby talk and annoys me. But what's funny? I don't know, you might have missed that episode. I actually did one of those. My wife bought me for my birthday or Christmas those Ancestry.com things.
Are you French?
Here's the fucked up thing. I see like the percentage comes up and I'm thinking like it's predominantly, Irish and fucking German, which I know I'm a little bit, mostly German and Irish, a little bit of Scottish and English. And then it came up like a big percentage French. I'm like, what the fuck? No fucking way. I'm a self-hating fucking frog. And I go and look at it. and it came up that way. It came up as French, but actually it showed my ancestors coming from this town that bordered on Belgium. So that makes sense. It's like in Germany, but like right on the border. And I think that's what it was. Like my ancestors just hated their fucking neighbors, and somehow that shit seeped into me.
Okay.
I don't know. I was just born with it.
You're gonna split hairs over a couple of miles. You're French.
Oh, fuck you. Fuck you, you Polak. God damn it.
Hey, I can make this argument. I've been through enough torture my whole life.
Yeah.
Mostly from you, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, I know. But I love you. It comes from a good place.
You do it with a wink and a smile, so it's all good.
Yeah, exactly. Ralph's just mean. I make it cuddly. But no, I thought that was hilarious. Like, well, actually, but you're right there, And I just think of, like you got the crusty old guy who lives across the street that hates his neighbors and they're always fighting, And I think this is generations of like, fuck the French.
I don't know, man. It sounds like some Clayton Bigsby stuff right there.
Hey, I had one of those. I had one of those ancestor tests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you French too?
No, 75% Cuban and 35% Detroit.
Detroit?
Yeah, Detroit.
That's a race?
Yeah, yeah, Detroit. We're the scummiest race there is.
I thought about going on that one Andrew Jacobs went on. It was called Ancestry.com.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh God, we're gonna drag that one back. Okay.
It's an oldie but a goodie.
I tell you on the phone that you forgot his name, and here we go.
I know, you made me remember that fuck. Hey, I remember his wife every time I take a piss and it burns.
Insert Melissa Etheridge song right here.
That guy is either dead, in jail, or homeless.
You know what's funny though is that like when my wife and I got back together and she knew I was doing the show, she went back and listened to every episode. She couldn't get it. And she said her favorite part was when Ralph would play "Come to My Window." When we started talking.
My wife too. We went on a road trip and she was in tears. She was laughing. So
Yeah, that shit was awesome.
Mess with the bull, you get the horns.
I mean, we kept laughing, going, "Man, this is so mean." But God, it's so funny.
It's amazing, these people we destroyed. It's like they have no audience. They have no show. They can't reach out to nobody. And we just decimate them to all these people listening.
Yeah.
And it's not just Andrew Jacobs. There's a bunch of them. We've carried. It's weird how we've carried that tradition year after year. There will be a fan like Andrew Jacobs. Remember, every podcast list, we were always number one. We were the greatest podcast ever, man. Until one day Ian had enough of that guy. Like all he did was complain about women. So he had enough and attacked them, and then we became the worst podcast ever.
Well, and then he switched to us as we're the best, and I'm like, this doesn't feel right. This feels cheap because I knew what was going on, and then he turned on us eventually too.
Yeah, he turned on everybody. And then there were other people too, man, that just came along and just fucking hated us, and they had no audience, including our fucking co-host that went off and nobody listened to him. And he would bitch about us constantly.
I tried a couple of times to give it a listen. I don't think I could get more than 2 minutes in anytime I tried.
What sucks? I actually miss him. Well, not him. But I miss the show because I would laugh my ass off at that shit,
I got bored of listening to him. I stopped.
Yeah. But it was funny. It was always like he put up a video and I'd instantly put a dislike, and then I would listen to it.
And he would go crazy over dislikes. He'd lose his mind over dislikes.
Yeah. But no, I actually had a chance at a reconciliation with him. And this is a sign. I'm getting old. I'm getting fucking old. And unfortunately, I'm growing up a little bit. I had a chance to do a show with him. And I decided that it wasn't worth it. Because if it was honestly going to like fucking make him go off the deep end again, you know, whether it was funny or not, you know, it just, we did it. We played it out, you know, we did our thing, you know, and Ralph would tell me, don't mention him. Don't do this, you know, and I'm like, fuck that. It's funny. You know, and then I finally grew up a little bit. I was like, you know what? Okay, I'll leave it alone. And he found out that I turned it down, you know, because of that. And he actually, you know, wrote a letter saying thank you for not making me melt down.
Whose show was it going to be on?
It was going to be on. Well, nobody would have heard it anyway because it was going to be on Mark Allen Taylor's show.
That's what I was figuring.
Yeah.
Well, that would have been a whole reunion thing.
I'm not going on fucking Joe Rogan with fucking Terrence. You know?
I got a funny story.
I'd watch.
I'm not going to mention the guy, but there was this dude. I asked him to come on my show, and he said, "Oh, I can't. I'm doing BS sessions that night." And I was like, "What? You really don't know how to promote your show, do you? You come on my show, you get a couple thousand and get a plug. No, you're gonna go BS and get like 20 views."
Hey, who was that guy? The guy that wanted to destroy you?
Roy Dan.
I do not want to talk about that anymore.
All right.
Okay, all right.
That's a whole saga.
I will say this about him. He's a scary individual. He's somebody you should not fuck with. That's all I'll say.
All I know is there were lawsuits involved with high-paid people, and it's like if somebody's willing to get in the mud that far, probably best to just avoid them.
And this guy gets people fired. And,
yeah.
I mean, I don't have a
He's
problem.
probably fucking French. Fucking piece of shit.
Well,
Quit talking about yourself like that, Ian.
Fuck you, Czynszak.
I'm gonna have so much fun with this. You should have never told me this.
God, I can trust you.
Just don't make fun of Detroit.
Yeah. My wife's got family in Detroit. They get a pass from me.
I thought Michelle was, you know, had that year-round tan.
Year-round tan, yeah.
Oh shit! Well, fuck it. That's I don't think there's anything new. Oh, here's one, and this is Rocket Pod related. This is the first story that posted after we did yesterday's episode. New LA Guns album, Leopard Skin, is coming out this April, and there is going to be a LA Guns member that has already been announced, so I'm not getting any trouble here for Rocket Pod. Ace Van Johnson.
Ace Von Johnson, yeah.
Oh, Von Johnson? Oh,
yep.
Pardon me. So anyway, I know that name from somewhere. Didn't he play with somebody else besides LA Guns?
He was in Faster Pussycat for several years before that.
Oh, I wonder if I saw him when I saw Faster Pussycat. I don't know.
He probably did. He's played with both a lot.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that was that was a funny show, seeing fucking Faster Pussycat at a country bar. And,
really?
This was during the Power and the Glory Hole tour and stuff. I still love it. It was a great show, but at that time, I think it was, I think definitely only Tame Me Down was the only.
Was that the Faster Hitler Cat era of the band?
Kind of. It was. I think it was like a year or so after that, so he kind of toned it back a little bit, but like I got some shit signed, and then I ended up on the tour bus later, and I remember telling him, I'm like, man, the last time I saw you, you guys were opening up for Kiss. It was in Tinley Park, and you could just see like his face went down, and like, you know, because I had already got his autograph once, but it was like a pre-signed thing. So I wanted to have him like actually sign something in front of me and shit, you know. And I was like, yeah, last time I saw you were opening up for Kiss, and went down, and I told my friend about it. I was like, yeah, and he seemed bummed out about it. He goes, yeah, motherfucker, he's playing a fucking country bar in Melbourne, Florida. You know, and the last time you saw me, he was at a fucking amphitheater. You know, no wonder you fucking hurt his feelings. Like,
hey, remember your peak?
Yeah. Oh, no, that was the best, too, because I got that Faster Pussycat T-shirt that glowed in the dark. It said Faster Pussycat on the front. Then on the back, it said, wake the fuck up, dickhead. And I used to love to wear that out. Like I'd go to the movie theater, you know, and I'd walk in, I'd walk down the aisle and shit, and go on. And you know, I thought it was tough because you know, it said a curse word on the back. You know,
they're still great live. I've seen them a couple times in the last.
Oh yeah,
couple
no,
years.
they were good when and I liked that album, The Power and the Glory Hole. I thought it was a decent album.
Yeah.
And that fucking that single they put out the other year where they did Pirate Love by Johnny Thunders and the Heartbreakers. It was like Pirate Love and something else. Did a great version. Really good, really faithful.
Ralph, you're a big Faster Pussycat fan, right?
No, actually, fun fact, I hate them.
I knew it. I figured.
That's I actually think "Wake Me When It's Over" is one of my favorite cock rock albums of the fucking 80s.
That's the one I got into him on. The video for Poison Ivy was getting played on
Yeah.
MTV.
Oh, dude, when I saw Poison Ivy on Headbangers Ball, I ran out. What did I buy? I think I bought that and Enough's Enough, first one, on the same day. Same day. But then when Whipped came out and I saw that Nonstop to Nowhere, so I was like, this
Love
song
that song.
sucks.
I love that song.
Oh, I hate that. And I never bought the album. I have it now, like a digital copy, but I never bought it because I thought it sucks so fucking
The rest of the album
bad.
doesn't sound like that song, though.
Yeah, but I heard I tried to listen to it once and I heard another song that was kind of rappy or something.
Well, it's different. It's not like the old stuff, but I don't know.
You know,
I like Nonstop to Nowhere.
You know, I knew him before, like when I saw the video for Bathroom Wall, I was like, okay, this kicks ass. I like this, you know. But I really liked Wake Me When It's Over. But yeah, Nonstop to Nowhere. What the fuck was that shit?
It's a good song.
It was all, but I mean, look at the time when it came out. It was all over.
Probably bad timing.
Yeah, you know. Anyway, fuck it. We can't keep you here all night. We got to get into the album, and this is one. I was talking to Ralph because we were trying to set up a future episode that we're going to have that's going to be amazing with Heather Drain. We're going to do Blue Oyster Cult Spectres, but that fell through. So I was like, pick an album, Ralph, and he goes, Ramones Road to Ruin, and I was like, ooh. Well, like, how in the fuck do we do a Ramones album without Czynszak, you know? So, and you couldn't do it that week, unfortunately. So, but I'm like, dude, we got to wait. You know, you are a huge Ramones fan, and so I couldn't wait to do this. I remember it was. Did we just do the one together? Did we do End of Century, or did we do another Ramones too?
I think we did 2 and 1 on that episode, but I don't remember what the other album was.
Oh no, I think we just did End of the Century.
I know we did that. I'm surprised you guys haven't covered this album yet.
Well, we haven't done enough. Like, you know, we're starting to venture out now, and I'm loving it. You know, we're doing out of the norm shit, and I think it's fucking great. And we've had good reception, you know, to it. The episodes
by the way, I tried listening to Bowie Scary Monsters again because of your episode. Still hate it.
Yeah, I know you hate Bowie. That's all right. That's all right. It's cool.
I tried. Friends. I did try, but it's just, I can't get it.
Hey, well, at least you have an open mind for Faster Pussycat.
I do. I know all the nuances of Faster Pussycat.
There you go. You expand.
I do. I'm open-minded.
Yeah.
No Manowar.
And that's why you get hate, Ralph. That was just mean.
It was just mean, but I'll roll with it.
I was not being sarcastic.
I know.
I love lying.
But yeah, I was really excited to do this because I believe End of the Century was your idea, Chris. Yeah. And that is one of my least favorite Ramones albums.
It's my favorite Ramones album.
Even though I mean, there's tracks I like on it, but overall, not one of my favorites. But spoiler alert, this one is. So, you know, I was like, oh, fuck. When Ralph said this, I'm like, oh, this is a win-win. But we got to have Czynszak here. But just to do a recap, you know, for the listeners who might not have heard that episode, how did you get in the Ramones, and like where are they in your pantheon of rock bands?
Well, yeah, I mean, you're hyping me up too much as a Ramones fan because I'm more of a newer fan than anything. They're like one of my favorite bands now, but
right,
like I didn't.
That's okay.
I didn't. Yeah, I'm by no means an expert. I love what I love, but No, like I got into them through the End of the Century documentary, and I guess that came out what, early 2000s, I think, like
Yeah, great
2003.
documentary.
And like I was, I had just gotten married, I got my kids, and it was just something like I had it on my DVR. Remember those? And I would just watch it over and over again. And like, I mean, obviously, I was more than aware of the Ramones growing up. I mean, you couldn't help but know who they were. They were on the fucking Simpsons, for Christ's sake. And then, my first thing I remember of them was the theme song for Pet Cemetery when it came out. Like I remember the
Yeah.
video for that, and I liked that song at the time, but I just don't remember. I was all about Kiss and the hair bands at the time, so I liked that song, but it never enough to dive into their music. And then the times I did at the time, I just didn't get it at the time. I was just like, well, it's just fast. The guy can't sing. There's nothing interesting. There's no guitar solos, or not that many. And I was just narrow minded as a kid at the time. So I had to get older to appreciate them. And then I saw that documentary. And for me, I'm a visual learner. So if I see a documentary on a band, it's more likely I'll get into that band. So I just got hooked on them through that and just started buying the catalog. And I learned really quickly the Ramones are one of those bands where if you hear one Ramone song, that's what you're going to be listening to the rest of the day. At least with me, it's that way. If one song I come across and then I end up listening to like 3 albums worth of songs. So I was just like, this has to be one of my favorite bands because I kind of like get addicted to them when I start listening to them. And then Road to Ruin, of course, just was another one in the line of albums I bought at the time. End of the Century was my favorite, still is. This one though, probably a close second to that one.
Right on. Well, I got, kind of, because we're close in age. Um, I, of course, had heard of the Ramones, and people had seen the T-shirts and stuff like that. Um, First time, I probably heard a song here or there, because they're in movies and shit like that, like in Vacation and shit,
Sure.
and stuff like that. But it was the same Pet Cemetery, you know, and I went out and I bought Brain Drain, and that's one that's very like a lot of fans do not like that album, but as Ralph always says, timeline's everything.
Yeah.
I bought Brain Drain and fucking loved it because I didn't know anything else, but that album I liked. And then I went out, I bought Ramones Mania, the greatest hits, which I think is a phenomenal greatest hits one, and I'm usually not the greatest hits guy, but that's something I'd recommend to everybody. Like if you're on the fence or whatever, get that because it just gives such a great overview. If you listen to that and there's like fucking 2015 songs on a 30-minute CD, but if there's nothing there that grabs you, you're not going to be a Ramones fan. But chances are there's going to be something that is going to turn you on and you're going to like. But I kind of stopped there. I didn't really like. I played the shit out of Brain Drain and Ramones Mania, but it wasn't until probably I would say my early 30s when I really went back and like let me check out the full albums and everything. And then I just like became even more of a fan. Unfortunately, I never saw him live. I almost went. I'd never seen a Lollapalooza, and I was almost gonna go to the one that they were at.
Me too.
And then I was like, but other than the Ramones, it was kind of a weak lineup for Lollapalooza. So I was like, I ended up passing out. But it was one of those things, like you always thought you could see the Ramones.
Well, it wasn't a weak lineup. That was the year they had Metallica and Soundgarden and Rage Against the Machine.
I saw that tour. I saw it.
It was a great year for it.
Like I said, it was a weak lineup. I mean, that
You're
was
a dick.
Metallica. I wanted nothing to do with it.
I gotta tell you, you know how hot West Palm Beach gets.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. I'm all the way up front. See, this ain't the last time I saw the Ramones. I saw them, and that was their farewell tour. But they came back and played the Edge. But anyway, they all came out in leather jackets in that heat and didn't take off their leather jackets.
God.
I think that's what killed them.
I believe it.
Yeah, they're all dead now. But the originals. But yeah, no, man, it sucks because they were a band like nothing like the Grateful Dead, but in the sense that they were always on tour.
Yeah.
and I could have had, so many missed opportunities,
Same
like
here.
in hindsight, like, man, I would have loved to see them because you could probably, it'd be like an easy show to get into. You could
Yeah.
get up front, unfortunately, I mean, they weren't like sold out shows. You could have went and saw, and I'm a fan of like, the later lineups and stuff. And even CJ Ramone, I think, gave it his all. That is the one area though that I'm not well versed in. I know all the albums up to Brain Drain.
Right.
I still haven't got into '90s yet, even though I know Ralph. Is it Adios Amigos you like or Acid Eater? Which one?
Mondo Bizarro.
Mondo
That's a good one.
Bizarro.
That would be the only one I like with CJ. I thought Adios Amigos was weak.
Okay.
It has
but
a
yeah,
couple
no-
good red songs on it, but
Yeah,
I
those are-
agree. Mondo Bizarro of the three at the end, I think he's right. That's the strongest of the three.
I'll even go a step further. I think Mondo Bizarro is their best album after End of the Century. Though I will say, Too Tough to Die is a very close. Too Tough to Die is a great album. But
I would pick Too Tough to Die over that.
I listened to Too Tough to Die today after I listened to Road to Ruin. While I was downloading the special edition, I got you guys, and I'm converting and all that shit. I'm like, let me pick another one. And I picked Too Tough to Die, and what a good album, man. The Richie Ramone era had some really good albums. Fucking Animal Boy.
I like Animal Boy. That's a good record.
Animal Boy is a heavy album, man.
Yeah.
Halfway to Sanities. I like.
Yeah,
like
that was okay. And Subterranean Jungle.
You know who produces Animal Boy?
Wasn't that yeah, I know, but now I'm having a brain
It's a
fart.
Kiss connection.
Jean Beauvoir.
Jean Beauvoir.
Oh, I thought it was Alan Schwartzberg.
He probably plays drums on it somewhere.
All right. Well, I got to piss again, but Ralph, you have an illustrious history with this band. You saw them a shit ton of times, right?
Oh yeah, it's all started with this right here. The
Awesome.
Edge soundtrack. I bought this in 79. I did not know this movie. And I didn't see this movie till like 5 years later on late night on HBO. And now it's one of my favorite movies of all time. But Teenage Lobotomy is on this album. Cheap Trick is on this album. Van Halen, The Cars, Jimi Hendrix. It's an amazing soundtrack. But man, Teenage Lobotomy grabbed me. I was like, oh my God, I need more of this. So I did. The first Ramones album I purchased in around the same time, in 79 or 80, was the album we're talking about today, Road to Ruin. And this is my favorite album cover.
Oh yeah, it's great artwork.
I love that artwork.
You know the story about the artwork?
No, I don't.
The artwork was initially done by a fan, but it was before they hired Marky, so it had Tommy in the artwork, and it also had like snakes going around their legs, and something like an axe or something like jutting out of the amplifier. It was a little too comic-y. So the record company the band picked the artwork, but then had John Hallstrom, who ran Punk Rock Magazine, who did all the artwork for it. He redrew it with Marky on drums on it and took the snake and stuff out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
Initially it was a cover with Tommy and they switched it out.
Well, this was my very first Ramones album. And it's my second favorite. Actually, I like Rocket Rocha as my favorite. But I love this album. It was my first taste of the Ramones, but this is them really changing their shit. Because the first three albums were more stripped down, heavy punk rock, crazy shit. Where this one, they slow shit down, and even the fast punk rock shit, you can hear the guitar a little more clear. Everything is cleaner on this.
Oh yeah.
People bash on End of the Century for being all commercial.
I started with this one.
It started with this one.
Yeah.
This has some pretty commercial tunes on it. And some ballads and I love it. I mean, back then it was I Want to Be Your Girlfriend was their ballad. Shit like that. Where here it's Questioningly. And the cover of Needles and Pins. And it's just, this album is fucking amazing. It's an amazing album. It was my very first Ramones album. Then End of the Century came, and that's the first time I saw the Ramones. I was underage, and I saw them on stage at the Button South in 1980.
Wow.
And while walking off the stage, Dee
Be right back.
Dee Ramone patted my head.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. How many times did you end up seeing the Ramones, you think?
My God. Has to be at least 20, at least. Or
wow.
More. I've never missed the Ramones since 1979. I saw all their shows. And the thing is, man, the Ramones always played little clubs, right? But when they got CJ in the band, they started playing the Cameo Theater, bigger places. They were getting a little more famous without Dee Dee. Weirdly enough, I'm talking about audience attendance.
Well, I think it was one of those, you hang around long enough, people finally wise up, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And they had that respect of never giving up, you know.
And I just thought it was crazy. Why are you going to retire now? You've never been this popular in the States. Now, South America is a whole different thing. They play stadiums over there. And what Chris was talking about earlier, that End of the Century documentary, there's footage of that documentary, them in South America, how fucking they're in the van and the crowd's like, it's scary shit, man, how fanatical and how huge the Ramones were in South America.
Yeah, the best part of that is hearing Marky go, Jesus Christ, what the fuck?
Yeah, I've got like 3 different Ramones documentaries and like DVDs, and they're all fucking amazing.
Yeah, they're all good, but End of the Century is the best one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, I'm trying to remember the one, it's in the bedroom and stuff.
I saw the
it's got the pink cover. That one's really good too.
I think is that the one that one of them is like all filmed by Marky on tour. So it's all just his home videos. I don't know if that's the one you're thinking of, but the Bill Hader, who was on Saturday Night Live, he did one of those Amoeba record store What's in My Bag segments.
I've got it saved in my favorites. I haven't watched it yet.
It's great because part of what he talks about, he picks up something Ramones related, but maybe it was the End of the Century documentary. But he talks about when he was on Saturday Night Live, him and one of the other writers, they would just every day they would watch the End of the Century documentary, and they fell in love with Dee Dee's quotes because, you know, he's just so goofy. And like they just had this habit of, you know, quoting Dee Dee from the documentary throughout, like, Joey stealing everybody's hash and stuff like, and I can just picture that, but yeah, Dee Dee is definitely the star of the documentary, and it's a damn shame he died so young because that dude had, just an amazing personality.
Well, a funny Bill Hader story too. That's funny that he did that because I also saw a video where he talked about him and his best friend were obsessed with the Eddie Van Halen, Alex Van Halen, the interview after the thing with David Lee Roth blew up where like, you better be wearing a cup, video. And he said they would quote that like nonstop. And then they would start talking in like Eddie and Alex's voice, like, to answer any day questions, and shit like that. Bill Hader's
It's not about
awesome.
me, man. It's not about it. It's not about, it's about me, man. Not about your fucking hip.
But fucking A, goddamn the Ramones. No, I'm so happy to do this one. Kind of a spoiler alert. This one goes back and forth with the debut as my favorite. And that's saying something because I love Leaves Home and Rocket to Russia. Those are awesome. That's the one I want. Did we do Rocket to Russia? We might have done that.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think we did 2. I think we did Rocket to Russia and Into the Century.
Rocket to Russia is my favorite Ramones album.
Yeah, but this one, and I'll get into it when we get into the album. But I mean, there's certain. I think this is like the apex of the Ramones, and that's taking nothing away from the Tommy era and shit like that. But Tommy's still involved here. Tommy very involved in the production on this album, which I guess I'll go ahead and say I prefer this night and day over End of the Century from a production value. I mean, there they go and they get Spector.
Yeah.
And you can see like they're kind of going for that Phil Spector clean sound here. But I think they did it better with Tommy and Ed Stasium than when they had the actual Phil Spector. You know, to my ears, I think this is the perfect mix of like what the Ramones are, but trying to go for like a cleaner sound. Um, but I,
Well,
yeah,
I
I
mean,
do.
you almost have to view the Phil Spector album as an experiment more than anything else,
Right,
because they wanted him for that wall of sound thing. So
right.
I don't know, is it a Ramones album or is it a Phil Spector album? Because it's kind of
Yeah, and it could be that just I prefer the songs on this one too. You know, even though like you know, it's, I don't hate End of the Century, but I would say like from the first album through Brain Drain, it would probably be my least favorite.
see, I
Even
like
though
the
I still
songs
like
of
it.
End of the Century better than this one.
Oh wow,
I
okay,
like
bye.
this one a lot, but like I don't think there's a bad song on here, but it's but if, I think there's more memorable songs on End of the Century.
All right, okay, all right. Well, why don't you take the opening track, Chris?
I just want to have something to do.
Yeah,
Awesome song, man. I call this like a full on hard rock song. Like more than a this I think of hard rock more when I hear this than punk. Um, like you know like has already been mentioned, everything sounds really crisp on this record. It's not murky or muddy at all, and you know this is Marky's first record with the band, and here's where I piss people. Well, I've already pissed people off by saying "End of the Century" is my favorite record by them, but here's where I piss even more people. I like Marky better than Tommy as a drummer. I think Marky's a technically better drummer, and they got a much bigger sound out of the drums on this album. Of course, that's thanks to Tommy for producing it, and Ed Stasium, who deserves a lot of credit too. But no, I like Marky's drumming. You know, of course, the lyrics, Ramones always have quirky, goofy lyrics, and I can't think of a better one than hanging out on Second Avenue eating chicken vindaloo. I mean,
yeah,
that's you could just picture, you know, a guy sitting on a fire escape in Queens, you know, eating that out of a to-go container. It's just very 70s New York sounding. And I love the like at the end of the song where the you know the guitar leads are really overdriven at the end. It kind of takes it to the next level, and you know it's common knowledge that most of the good leads you hear on Ramon songs are other people, not Johnny, but so be it. And they've said in interviews, Ed Stasium and members of the band, that they were going for the radio hit on this record.
oh yeah.
So yeah, they you know it was before End of the Century, and it was more on this one. But I love this song. I think it's one of my favorite Ramon songs. It's one of my favorite Ramon songs that leads a record off too. So yeah, this is an A+ for me.
Awesome. I'll take it. Um, Damn, this sounds good. To my ears, the best production of any Ramones album. Classic track, great opener, and you know I love that. You know, you brought up the lyrics on this one. It just reaps of Queens. In fact, the working title for this song was Mark Daly. Uh,
Okay.
but
Yeah, yeah. Well, what Ian means is that Mark Daly's a queen.
yeah.
So this Mark Daly guy gets a lot of talk on your show. When is he going to appear on the show?
He's going to be at Rockin' Pod, so you're probably going to. I'm probably going to interview somebody. Like I'll pick like the one person because for those of you who don't know the inner workings of Rockin' Pod, you know I'm going to take you behind the curtain. Okay, so there's a list of guests, and then you say who you want to interview, and you don't get everybody you want to interview. You know, it's kind of like a potluck thing, and
It's a
so
lottery
what I'm
system.
gonna yeah, what I'm gonna do is like the one I'm least interested in. I'll have Mark Daly interviewing the guest with me. So, no, I love Mark Daly's gay ass, you know, and I feel bad that you know he gave his wife AIDS. But this is a great track. I, well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe his wife had AIDS already. I don't know.
This is
Uh,
like one person in your whack pack that I don't know. I've seen his posts, but I don't know him personally. So yeah, you'll
this
have to
guy's
bring me up to speed on Mark Daly.
this guy is something else, man. He loves the fucking show, and oh my god, does he dig up shit? I mean, you see all the videos he's posting, like shit from like fucking past Rockin' Pods and stuff. He just posted a picture today. He goes, you know, what happens at Rockin' Pod stays at Rockin' Pod. It's that picture of me with fucking Lee Gertzman where I put my hair in ponytails and Lee has the fucking Budweiser case
That
on his
remind
head.
indulged me for a second on a Rockin' Pod memory. I'd love to bring this up with you guys because I know it makes you laugh every time. 2021 was the year Lee Gersman actually came to Rockin' Pod. And like me and my wife are, we're working the front table of this thing. And it's like a couple hours in, I'm in full panic mode. My hair's on fire. I'm freaked out like I always am at the day of the event. And somebody walks up to me and they hand me is a driver's license or I think it was a credit card. And they're like, somebody dropped this. Can you hold on to it? And I look at it and it says Lee Gersman. And I'm like, okay, I know. And I'm too busy for this right now. So I'm like, I know who they give this to. So I walk over to Ralph and Ian's table and I look at Ian. I'm like, I'm going to let you deal with this. And I let him have Lee's card. It always makes me laugh when I think back to that.
Oh, and you know what's so funny too is Lee's appearance at Rockin' Pod was crowdfunded.
Yes, it was. And yeah.
Ralph and I were out fucking smoking, and we met this lady who chipped in to pay for him to go. And,
that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
That girl, dude. So fucking. She was on my Facebook. She would write me novels, and I wouldn't answer it. Who was she friends with again, other than Lee? Somebody else. But that girl was wacky, man. That was someone. Yeah, I met her at Rockin' Pod. She was telling me she put money in. But I know another girl who started the GoFundMe. And
yeah,
Chris knows her too.
Oh, yeah. I do? Okay.
That girl, Nina.
Oh, yeah, Nina. I like Nina.
Started the GoFundMe for Lee.
Oh, she started it?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's actually GoFundMe's to fucking get our listeners to come to Rockin' Pod to meet us. That's amazing. That's fucking amazing.
Remember when Lee said, "Hey, you think the hotel can burn me my CDs? Burn me a bunch of my CDs?" He felt like the hotel was gonna, like they have.
He asked me that too, and I was like, "Lee, I don't think they offer that service here." Man.
then I remember he had to leave at like 4 a.m. To catch his plane back because he really like flew in and then had to fly out the fucking next day. And we had him up in our hotel room getting him fucking trashed. That's the one where I took that picture of Bushy puking in the toilet. What a fucking night. And like Lee's like, yeah, I got to get on a bus. There's a shuttle that takes me to the airport. I got to fly out at 4 a.m. We're like, nah, stay and drink some more. You'll be fine. And then
that poor flight crew.
And then Lee went to go sleep for like 2 hours or something. And I went downstairs to make sure he was awake, and turned out he was already in the shuttle.
That's right. Could you imagine like the people had to put up with him on the plane, like, hello, stewardess. Can I have a cosmopolitan?
I love that guy.
Fucking lovely. God damn it.
I loved his live streams from walking around New York. Yeah, they were always interesting.
I love that he peed his pants at the Love concert with Ralph.
That was fantastic. I bought him a ticket to see Yellow, and the whole film they were trying to wake him up to watch it.
Oh God,
it was a waste of money.
Where was that at?
Oakland. I went to Oakland.
Oh, that's when he lived out in the West Coast. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my! The first time I met him at a bar. Oh my God. Insane.
Hello.
Hi, Ian. And he gave me a manifesto to read that he wrote.
Oh yeah.
After I met him, like hung out with him for about a half hour or so, went to another bar, and unfortunately I left his manifesto there. And I always wonder, like, did anybody pick it up and read it and like get scared? You know, like what the fuck? Ah, good times.
I think he's gonna try to come back this year.
Oh, that would be amazing.
I think I saw him like post, wanting advice on, if he can bring copies of his CD, and I was like, well, he hasn't asked me directly, but I'm like, well, Lee is always entertaining.
I think I saw a post online where like he was trying to find out like the size of liquid that you can bring on a plane now because he has this Old Spice that's in a boat, and he didn't know if that's like over the limit and shit. That'd be awesome. All right. Well, Ralph, what do you think of the opening track?
I love it, man. I always get that vision of rock and roll high school with them in the car and Joey eating the chicken in the back seat. And yeah, it's very punchy, great production. You can tell it's miles better than the first three albums as far as the sound goes. And very catchy, more catchy than any song they've done up to that point. You know, tonight. What's the deal with the song Tonight? Every band that has a song called Tonight, they say tonight a lot.
That's true.
Like the Raspberries, they
Yeah.
say tonight a lot. We need a lover tonight.
Oh God, they say tonight a million times in that song.
I'll be.
We can rock all day. We can roll all night.
I'll be with you by Cheap Trick. I'll be with you tonight. Repeats tonight, which is the weird thing because I'll Be With You Tonight opened side 2 of Dream Police, where Motley Crue's opened side 2 of Theater of Pain. And it's the same producer. But anyway, I love the song. It's fucking amazing. Great catchy tune, and I love that it's in that movie.
Have you heard the garbage cover of it from the We're a Happy Family tribute album? It's pretty good.
I might have. I like the Kiss cover on there.
Oh, it's great. Do you remember Rock and Roll Radio? Yeah, I love that.
I thought they did an amazing cover on that.
Yeah.
All right, the next one's called
God gave rock and roll to you, I'll say that.
The next one is called I Wanted Everything. And this one, it's got the raw power of the Ramones' first three albums, but it's got a spit shine polish to it. No. It's much more, it's not as dirty, but it's still awesome. I mean, it's still the Ramones. But it's kind of, it just sounds less offensive, is the way I'm going to say it. But it's a great tune. It's just to let the people know, hey, look, we're still the Ramones, because I just want to have something to do is kind of, for the Ramones was kind of drastic, even though it gets way more drastic on this album.
Yeah.
I Wanted Everything's a fun, punky, heavy tune, but it's got a nice sheen to it. I love it. What do you think, Chris?
For this one, I put filler, but killer filler. It's a perfect number 2 song on an album. So I agree with what you're saying. It's still a good reminder of what they sounded like before, but it does have that little sheen to it. But I never skip it. I always listen to it. Yeah, not a ton to say about this one, but I always like the song. What about you, Ian?
Oh, I love this one. To me, it's not letting up. And to me, this album doesn't sound like a sellout as much as it sounds like a progression. I know there was a lot of controversy when this came out, not only from fans, but from, critics, who are, calling it like, they're losing their punk edge, they're doing this, they're trying to get on the radio, which, yeah, they were. But to me, this is just another great fucking track and a great 1-2 punch. I would never skip this track. Not top tier, but I wouldn't go as far as calling it filler. There is one song on here I would call filler, but this one ain't it. I'll take the next one, Don't Come Close. Mellow, but a great song from Dee Dee. That if you look on here, most of the songs are credited to the band as a whole, and there's I think 3 that are like Dee Dee solo, a couple that are Joey solo writing credits. Not what I would normally expect from Dee Dee, but I like this one. I like this one, and I've heard comments of it even be referred to as country. And there's a song on here that I would say is much more country than this one. Oh, yeah. But not this one. And I'm trying to remember what song I was reading online that they were comparing it to. God damn it. Merle Haggard's, If We Make It Through December. I don't know if it's that country, or that kind of desperate sounding, but there is a melancholy feel to it. But I dig it, man. I like it. What do you think, Ralph?
What song?
Don't Come Close.
Oh, this one's awesome. It's commercial. Again, it's going back to like a more commercial vibe, but it's a fun tune, man. I absolutely love this song. What do you think, Chris?
It's a big stretch for the Ramones. Like it's like we mentioned earlier, like end of the century kind of gets all the like, oh, they sold out with that album, but it's like listen to this song.
Yeah.
This is way different than anything they had done before. So I like it though, because I tend to lean more to the melodic stuff that they did. I love the buzzsaw guitars on certain things, but like this one I like. I think this song almost sounds ahead of its time. It sounds like something that like would have been like a Euro pop hit in like the 80s or something. It sounds different. Kind of new wave before new wave, but I don't know if they were pandering to an audience or not. But I like it. It's an interesting song, and it's an interesting place on the album for it too. But yeah, I like it overall. Um, and then that goes to "I Don't Want You," which I think is kind of an awesome mid-tempo Ramones song. I can kind of hear the Stooges influence on it. Obviously it's limited lyrically, but you can tell the girl screwed the guy up on the song. But it's another one that I wouldn't call it filler either, but I never skip it. What do you think of "I Don't Want You," Ralph?
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I love it. Love it. I want you. It's so catchy and memorable. Joey, man, what a voice. What a fucking, that guy was like very special. And believe me, I never took the Ramones for granted. I wouldn't miss them. I'd go see them no matter what. Every time they were down here, I would never miss the Ramones. And I've seen them play this in the earlier days, not later on. But
What was your first show to see them?
End of the century.
Wow.
And I was underage. It was a club show, and I saw it from the stage. The bouncers let me in. They were nice. I'm this little fucking kid. Back then, I was supposed to be a dwarf because the doctor said I was never going to grow. And I was still tiny then.
Why do I have a feeling someone's going to come up with a Photoshop of this?
Well, let them, fuck it.
What you talking about, Willis?
But yeah, I love this song.
Did they blow your mind when you saw them?
Yeah, every time.
Yeah.
Every time. Even with CJ. They were amazing, man.
He's a good bass player.
Something I want to ask you, Ralph, about, because you saw so many shows. What were the crowds like back then at those shows? Was it pretty, because they're playing smaller venue, was it like wild or was it like tame? Was it like a weird collection of people?
I have never seen a tame Ramones show. Every Ramones show had pits. Even before thrash metal. I'm talking like 81, 82. Because all punk rock, well, back then it was called slam dancing.
Yeah, like pogoing, yeah. And
it was way more violent than what turned out to be moshing because slam dancing, they would literally punch you. There's people just swinging on each other. Mm-hmm. And that's how Ramones shows were. Then, the thrash came in, it became more of a mosh thing. But the Ramones was always an exciting band. Always. And there was hardly any breaks. They'd play a song, 1, 2, 3, 4, another song.
Yeah.
4. They would do that.
Yeah, I was like, Joey didn't really talk to the crowd at all, did he? Did they just one song right to the next?
He did, but not much. But yeah, after like 4 or 5 songs, they'd stop and then Joey would do the "How y'all doing tonight" type vibe.
Right.
Joey would talk to the crowd, but it would happen like maybe 2 or 3 times a show.
Yeah.
But he would talk and he would segue into the next.
There was no "people let me hear you."
Nah, there was none of that. Yeah.
This baby had a tongue so long. Did you ever see a bad Ramones show? Was there ever like an off night or like a show where you thought they were going through the motions?
Nope. Every Ramones show is like special.
Nice.
It's like I knew subconsciously back then. I was watching history. Like it was almost like I knew this band's going to be dead one day, and I won't be able to see them anymore. I felt the same way about Lemmy. Every time I saw Motorhead, I had that same kind of feeling going to see Motorhead. You know, even though I don't see Udo much, but seeing Udo gives me that same rush. Raven gives me that rush. To go see a band that just, they're so real. You know, it's no fake bullshit. These are guys out there doing it for the love of music. Yes, the Ramones wanted success, but Johnny said it, and I think it was End of the Century. I mean, in the documentary, after they recorded End of the Century, there's an interview with Johnny going, we recorded the album, it didn't sell. And that's when I realized, you know what? We're never going to sell records.
Yep. This is your lot in life.
Let's just keep doing stuff, touring records. We know we're not going to sell shit. But it was like even early on, like back in 1980, he realized the Ramones were never going to be superstars. Yeah. But around this time, they were posed. They were right there, man.
Yeah.
They were supposed to be huge. I don't know what happened. I really don't know why this is.
I'll get into it later what happened, but
I don't understand how this was not a multi-platinum album before End of the Century.
I agree.
It came out of the gate as a, you know, this should have sold as much as the first Boston album, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But
and there's something, you know, like there's a certain feeling you get when you see bands that are underground bands or aren't, you know, like mainstream. And I love the vibe at those shows because it's all like, I don't know, you feel something from the band and you feel something from the crowd because you're not there because it's the hip thing to do. You know, you're not there because it's the hot ticket in the city that night. You know, it's like, you know, you're on to something special. And some people can see that as like gatekeeping bullshit. But, you know, a lot of gatekeepers are just cooler than you, you know, in the reality of it. And, you know, I think that's awesome. You never saw a bad show and all this. I mean, it's fucking, they're a great band. And you didn't see a lot of trendy motherfuckers. Trendy motherfuckers will wear the shirt, but real motherfuckers were at the show.
Trendoids came in toward the end. By the time CJ was in the band. During 80, it was still underground and shit. But I will say, now that I remember, the Cameo show, though, that one had sound problems. I forgot about that. That was, it wasn't like they were bad. It was the sound man was horrible. So I did,
like Killfest.
I did see, and it was Mondo Bizarro tour. And I was kind of bummed. But I did see them. They came back from Mondo Bizarro and played The Edge, and they sounded amazing. And The Edge was bigger than the Cameo. It's like every time they came, they kept playing bigger and bigger places.
Nice. Well, I love this song as well. I've heard it before. You know, this is kind of one of those songs, but I mean, a lot of Ramones. It's kind of like AC/DC. A lot of them have the same vibe and shit. Like, you know, you've heard it before, but when they do it right, they do it right. And that's, you know, how I feel about this one. I love it. It's not groundbreaking. I mean, Treading Water is kind of like, you know, being harsh for a song that I like as much as this. But I love it. It's just, you know, it's nothing new. But then we go to this amazing cover of Needles and Pins. Holy shit, does this sound good. And while I was doing some research for the album, I saw like a review that I really agreed with on this. They're like, it would have been very easy for this to come off as corny, you know, and you know, like cheesy cover. But Joey sings this so fucking good. You know, it just, you feel it when you hear this, you know, and it like cracks me up. Like, what was it? Megadeth on that fucking horrible fucking Cryptic Writings album. You know, they do a little needles and pins, for that one song that sucks cock. But this one, oh my God, so good. And I had no idea either that this was written by Sonny Bono. Sonny Bono and Jack Nietzsche, who did a lot of production for like Neil Young and some other artists. That's who wrote the song. I love the song to begin with, but I gotta say this rivals the original for my favorite because they just do it so good. And like that critic pointed out, it doesn't sound like they're making fun of it or they're trying to be ironic. It comes across that they really love this song, and Joey is the one who sells it all day long with his vocals. I think it's an amazing cover. What do you think, Ralph?
Oh man, I love the original, but this is the best version of the song, I think. I've heard a couple other versions of this song that are really good. But yeah, it's really Joey that sells it. I mean, the band sounds great, but the voice, that golden fucking voice. And then when he picks it up a little bit toward the end, I saw it today. Fuck, man. I haven't done it in a while, but I have a segment on my YouTube channel, my favorite singers. And I did an episode on Joey Ramone because of it. He had such a unique voice, but it was, I mean, my God, it was beautiful. It was gorgeous, And he wasn't really an attractive guy, but boy, did he get tail, You see, I remember Marky, a bunch of other people. They say Joey Ramone always had a different chick. Always. Constantly with different chicks. He was a fucking pimp, man. He looked weird, but he sang like a fucking angel. And he sang pretty rough, too. Like, somebody put something in my drink type shit. Yeah. He had like he could deliver a rough, the song Animal Boy. And then this, questioningly. And, the other ballad on here, my God.
We'll get to that
when we get there, but my God.
I saw a video that was talking about, like, Joey Ramone getting tail. And it turns out what they were talking about was Andrew Jacobs' wife, because she had an actual tail. But she did put out to Joey Ramone at a concert in the mid-'80s. And they wrote a song about it called Warthog.
I love that song.
Little Ramones history there.
I never fucking deep.
Yeah, you never had to wonder if Dee Dee was being himself.
Even the D.D. King album, which I have.
Let's not go there. No, I don't. You're a bigger fan than me if you own that one, because I don't think I'll be buying that anytime soon.
That shit makes Samantha 7 sound good.
Oh boy, hey, there's some good Samantha 7.
My girlfriend
get the fuck out of here.
There is.
My girlfriend told me she was trying to track that album down for me.
Which one?
D.D. King.
Oh, I'll send it to you.
Oh God!
But if you have to have it physical, good luck.
Yeah, she's looking for it.
Funky.
Then in that time of the century, he's like, I can't rap.
Yeah, he's just like, I suck. I know.
I tried.
I actually saw a video where they were talking about Suge Knight hung Dee Dee Ramone over a balcony saying, "Stop doing rap." True story.
It's Gucci time.
What do you think of Needles and Pins, Chris?
Oh, I love it. It's an awesome cover. I grew up hearing the song around my house, the Searchers version. My parents loved it. But I love it. I agree with Ralph. I think it eclipses the original version. I think it's awesome. And I just loved how the Ramones would take, it's all the stuff they grew up on. They take the 60 songs that they loved and try to sell them to the younger generation. And sometimes they succeeded, but I just always love their spins on '60s tunes because they kind of modernized them for the times they recorded them, and they did that all the way up, close to the end too.
Nice. Well, why don't you take the next song? I'm against it.
More in line with the early stuff. The buzzsaw guitars are out in full force, and Joey's got a lot of snarl in his vocals on this one. I love the line. I don't like sex and drugs. I don't like water bugs. I don't care about poverty. All I care about is me. I love that.
Every fucking lyric of the song is great. Every lyric.
Ralph, I'm assuming you love this one too.
Oh my God. I don't like circus geeks. I don't like anything. I don't like Burger King. I don't like summer and spring. It's fucking awesome, man. It's a very anti everything song, And it's one that I really got attached to when I bought this album as a kid. It's like forever. I'll spoil it now, man. Forever and ever and ever. Teenage Lobotomy is the greatest Ramones song ever. And it may have something to do with the timeline because it was the very first Ramones song I heard off Over the Edge. And then I bought that album and I still thought, God, I'm loving this album. I love all the songs. And there is not one song I dislike on this album. I think all songs are good.
They're all good.
But Teenage Lobotomy to me, well, we're not there yet, but I don't I'm against it as my second favorite. I fucking love that song. Everything about it. The craziness, the punkish, the anti fucking lyrics. It's fucking amazing. And like what Chris said, I don't like water bugs.
Yeah.
That is so cool. It's like, what the fuck? Water bugs. It's like, fuck yeah, man. I don't know what that means.
Well, it's like another one where you can picture him in in a beat up apartment in Queens dealing with bug problems.
Yeah.
It's all written like very first person, and you can just picture where they're at when they write it.
Bug problems is what I got after I fucked Andrew Jacobs' wife.
Oh boy.
True story.
I think this is a sequel to We're a Happy Family.
Yeah, it does fit with that.
Yeah, it's got that same vibe, like, Daddy likes men, shit like that. So cool, man. I love I'm Against It. My second favorite song on the album.
Right.
Well, I love it. I love it as well. And now this is like great snotty fucking Ramones. And this is one for those who like, maybe some of the other songs are a little bit different, maybe a little bit jarring compared to their previous releases. This is tried and true Ramones here. They're against it. I'm fucking for it. I love this goddamn track. And then I'll flip this one over. We go to side 2. Holy shit. I Want to Be Sedated. What a great song. And this is one of those I never get tired of. There's some Ramones songs. I mean, I don't know if there is a Ramones song I'm burned out on. I mean, maybe Blitzkrieg Bop, and I still love it. But I Want to Be Sedated. Still, every time I listen to it, it sounds fresh. It sounds good. I've heard multiple versions of what this song was written about, but the one that makes a lot of sense to me, the one that I love, is they were talking about being in London around Christmas time, and Joey was, it's like, man, we're doing show after show. Danny Fields was their manager, always had them. They almost never had a day off, and now they're in London, and it's Christmas time, and he said London shut down, so they're trapped in their hotel. There's nothing going on. Everything's closed. And him and Dee Dee were sharing a hotel room, and they were watching the Guns of Navarone on TV. He's like, oh, I finally make it over to London, and what am I doing? I'm sitting in a hotel room watching American movies.
Right.
Just like going crazy. Joey's stuck in London, but the world is a better place for it because you got this song out of it.
Well,
I love love I Want to Be Sedated. What do you think, Chris?
I think the quote was, what was it? To put me in a wheelchair, get me on the plane, hurry, hurry before I go insane, was a
Yeah.
real thing that Tommy said on the tour before. And
Yeah.
they implemented it into the song, but it was like the whole reason Tommy left the band, because he couldn't
Yeah.
handle the stresses of tour. And also, if you watch Into the Century, you'll get a nice idea of what it was like riding in a bus with these maniacs and dealing with all their hangups and weirdness. Like that's the thing that blew me away, was like these guys toured together for over 20 years and didn't speak a word to each other the whole time they were in the fucking van.
Yeah.
That is so dysfunctional. Like it's insane. And like Joey and Johnny really hated each other. And it all
Yeah. Well, I
started
mean,
because of
that I
Logan.
think came later. You
No,
know, the
but dude,
whole.
that started around the time of End of the Century, I think.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy that they toughed it out. Like, and then of course Joey's got OCD. He's got all kinds of crazy hangups. So you're
Right.
dealing with that guy. You're dealing with Mark, who's a drunk. You're dealing with Dee Dee, who's hooked on heroin and saying all kinds of bizarre shit. And like that was the thing. Like watching that documentary, I was like, Johnny seemed like a real hard ass in the story of the Ramones, but like that band does not survive beyond like a couple of years without Johnny Ramone holding it
Yeah.
together, because they were all lunatics, you know?
Well, I saw it was like an unauthorized documentary on YouTube, and it was talking about like when Tommy left the band and shit, and they were saying Johnny wanted to do a concept album with Bob Ezrin, and he was like, nah, I'm out of here. You know, it was about a boy.
Yeah. A very special boy.
Yeah, he's got the light in his eye.
He's got light in his eye.
Did you ever hear the story of the Red Hot Chili Peppers and the Ramones?
No.
This is a funny story told by Anthony Kiedis. The Ramones were playing a show, and with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, I think maybe Red Hot Chili Peppers were headlining.
Mhm.
So while the Ramones are on stage playing, all Red Hot Chili Peppers come out on stage naked and dance around naked. Said fucking Johnny Ramone wanted to kill him.
I bet.
And after that, Johnny Ramone, he tried apologizing to him, and Johnny Ramone didn't want nothing to do with it. He said, "You came on my stage. You fucked up my show." I mean, really, like, told him off, you know?
Yeah, that's like insulting his mother, the way he was about
man,
business.
But it's also,
Yeah.
come on, dude. I mean,
No, he was like an overly serious, curmudgeonly asshole.
he
from what
was.
I've heard.
He was
Yeah.
a solo asshole, but I love that about him.
Yeah, but like I said, they wouldn't have made it more than a few years without him running things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He was the brains behind that band.
It was so infectious watching him live.
Yeah, he would get into it, man.
When he played live, it was like he was attacking the guitar.
Yeah, like
And
he hated it.
It was all downstroke.
Downstroke, and like, dude, I started playing guitar again recently because I'd laid off for a long time, and like, I wasn't really a Ramones fan when I was a regular player. So I'm like, well, fuck it, let's start, learning Ramones songs. So I start doing this shit, and I'm trying to do it the Johnny way, downstroking. Like my fucking arm felt like it was gonna fall off for like 3 days after doing a day of trying to just learn it. Like I think I learned like 4 songs, and after like 2 hours of playing that shit all downstroke, I was like, my arm feels like it's gonna fucking fall off. I was like, I don't know how he did that shit for although I'm sure all that gets stronger as you go, but it's brutal on your arm. He could probably jerk off with the best of them, though, I'm sure. But yeah, so I was going to say my thoughts on I Want to Be Sedated. I mean, what is there to say? I mean, it's classic. This is like the one song that is the biggest piece of evidence of why the fuck was this band not huge. This song should have been a massive hit. I mean, it's got everything you would want. It's as catchy as it can be. It's written for radio. It's less than 3 minutes. And then they did a video for it like 10 years after the fact, and MTV started playing it a lot, and it started getting it got a lot of airplay. But this song is like the biggest. This is like evidence A of why this band should have been way bigger than it was. I don't know, Ralph. What do you think?
I'll get into it later. I know why they weren't, but it's for another song.
I forgot to finish the Red Hot Chili Pepper story, and then I'll go into the song.
Oh, sorry. I thought you.
No, no, I thought I was done too. I forgot a very important part. Then Anthony Kiedis had Joey Ramone go up to him, and Joey said, "I fucking loved it."
Of course he did.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a funny thing uh, about like Johnny Ramone was great friends with fucking Eddie Vedder, who's one of the most Boy George notoriously called Eddie Vedder a fag, like liberal fucking guy, and Johnny was like such a staunch Republican, and like remember when they got inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and Johnny's like, I want to thank George W. Bush, God bless him.
That to me was awesome. I love that. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. I love if you walk into a room full of Republicans and say, God bless Al Gore. I would love that. To me, I get the same charge of him going into a place full of liberals saying, God bless George Bush. And I'm telling you, I'm more Republican. George Bush was a shit-ass president. He wasn't good.
No.
Yeah, I'm a Republican president. You pick that asshole. Whatever.
But that was Johnny being Johnny, and that's what you gotta love. Like there was no bullshit, there was no filter. He was being true to who he was, and I respect the fuck out of that. And
boy, was Johnny ever an Elvis fan. that room, he had a room in his house. It's in the documentary.
It's still there.
All Elvis cutouts, rugs. The guy was fanatical. But anyway, I will go into I Want to Be Sedated. It reminds me, I mean, this is fucking decades after the fact, but when I used to take care of my niece and nephew, I would do some weird shit to them. Like they're young and I'm showing them Dead Alive, that movie.
Yeah.
Dead Alive? You showed them that?
Yeah, I showed them that.
What the fuck?
They loved it though. They loved it. They loved the stupid Kiss movie. And they loved this song, but they were little kids. They're like, Uncle Ralphie played 24 hours ago. They didn't know that, It's so infectious. And yeah, what Chris was saying is 100% true. This song, why wasn't this song as big as My Sharona? Seriously,
yeah, it's just as catchy.
It's in the same realm of
I would tell you
as this song. But it just wasn't fucking promoted, But this song is fucking. This is the most perfect Ramones song. Not my favorite, but the most perfect Ramones song ever is "I Want to Be Sedated" because it has everything. It has the catchy riff. It has the 24 hours, and
it's got the hand claps.
Yeah, and the bad. Who can do that better than Joey?
Here's a curious thing. What is your guys' favorite Ramones song? Mine is 53rd and 3rd.
Mine is Teenage Lobotomy.
Okay.
Chinese Rock.
Whoa! But correct me if I'm wrong, you agree that Johnny Thunders and the Heartbreakers did it better, right?
It's more authentic through them. But I love that. I love the Ramones version.
Johnny Thunders version sucks.
No, I love the Johnny Thunders
I
version.
hate it. I hate it.
It's way better.
Give me the.
They were actually on heroin when they recorded it, though, Ralph. Come on.
Yeah, I know. And Johnny was pissed off about it. That he was playing a song about heroin. He didn't like that shit.
Oh, I know. Yeah, Polar. That's just off the top of my head. I mean, I love so many songs. I could easily say Cretin Hop. I could easily say, do you remember Rock and Roll Radio? I don't know. Commando's great. Rockaway Beach. I love that one. I mean, God, there's so many. I love a lot of them.
All right, well, Ralph, take the next one. Go Mental.
Oh man, yeah, this one. Where the fuck? Go Mental. Another great tune. The thing about the Ramones, they have a lot of songs about mental issues. I love that, And this is not the last song on this album about mental issues.
No.
It's fucking awesome. It's another awesome, punky, but like I was saying about the second song, little sheen, but it's a great song. What do you think, Chris?
I love it. It's written from the perspective of a mental patient, and like we all found out later that Joey had to see all kinds of shrinks because of his OCD. So I'm sure it was all honestly written, but it is odd in hindsight to look at how polarizing mental health issues were back in the 70s compared to now. Now it's just commonplace. Everyone's got a mental health problem. But my favorite line is staring at my goldfish bowl, popping phenobarbital. That's fucking awesome. And I love the cool lead guitar overdubs that are clearly not Johnny Ramone, but still awesome. But I don't know. I love this song. What do you think, Ian?
I love it. To me, it's an album track on here. I wouldn't call it filler, but I'd call it an album track. But I absolutely love it. I mean, it's fucking sonically, this album I just find so rewarding. And so, like, as much as I love, like I said, I go back and forth between this and the first album being my favorite because I love not only the songs but the raw production on the first one, even the first three. But this is like good production done right. No, I absolutely love this track. I'll take the next one. Is it questionably?
Questioningly.
Yeah, questionably. Hey, they went country before Beyonce, goddammit. Beyonce ain't got shit on the fucking Ramones. I love this one. And you guys keep talking about why this band never made it bigger. And I think it's really cut and dry why. Because they had the talent. They had the songs. The thing is, these guys are ugly as shit. And if they were pretty boys and they wrote these songs, because they write so many songs that women would fall in love with, that would love lyrically. It's almost like a punk rock journey. I mean, there's a lot of heartbreak fucking Ramones songs and all this shit. And my wife, in the time we were split up, when I was with her, she was all about New Kids on the Block. And then it was like Slaughter and shit. Like, it was all pretty boy bands. And then she got more into music, and she didn't care about the looks as much as the music, And Ramones is her favorite punk band. And I truly think that. I mean, you got to think that, yes, they came out in the 70s, persevered through the 80s, but by the 80s they were lost because it was all about visual. Do you look like Duran Duran? Do you look like this? Bachman Turner Overdrive would never make it in the 80s, because they're a bunch of fat Canadians, and I think that's what held this band back was the look. There was no pretty boy. There was no like, ooh, he's so dreamy. Even though as time would go on, you said, Joey got a lot of ass, but, it was from a certain clique, and if this band if they looked like Poison, they would have been huge writing songs like this. Look how Poison made it writing horrible songs. This band had the songs, but if they were good looking, they never would have been this good a band. And I've said that time and time again. The uglier the band, the better the music, because that's what they have to do. They have to write good songs. You cannot coast on, your good looks. If you're an ugly fucking band, you have to write good songs. And this band did that in spades. But Joey Ramone is like, freakishly bad looking, But what a voice. I mean, and what a human being. I'm saying nothing about who he was. He was a beautiful human being, but he wasn't like easy on the fucking eyes. And neither was the rest of the band with their fucking Three Stooges haircuts and shit like that. You know what I mean?
I thought Dee Dee looked so fucking cool. And so did Johnny. I didn't think they were ugly dudes.
Dee Dee was probably...
Look at the fucking Knack or fucking Men at Work. They all had hits. They're all a bunch. They're uglier than the Ramones. They're uglier than fucking Joey Ramone.
Not a lazy eye among them.
Yeah,
the Ramones come out. They got the fucking, they got the Wild One Marlon Brando leather jackets. Yeah, Dee Dee was probably you know, that's a fucking, like, when Dee Dee is the poster boy for your band, like when he's the Bret Michaels of the band, you're in trouble. You know, but you know, he had a cool punk rock look and he had all this, but you know, you got to look at who's fronting your band. And it's a fucking guy that's got hair in front of his face so you can't see it, so you don't scare small children.
You made the quote of the episode, and like it's the only place you're gonna hear a quote like, "When Dee Dee is the Bret Michaels of the band, you're in trouble."
I have my moments, but no, this is a great fucking song. I mean, you got twangy fucking guitars coming out of the Ramones. I mean, this is so weird and so out of place. But if you listen to this as a fucking song, it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's a great fucking, it's a well-written song. It's a well-constructed song. It's a well-performed song. It's just performed by 4 ugly motherfuckers from New York. And that's what holds it back. And that's why this band wasn't bigger. You know, I believe that with all my fucking heart, because this band had all the talent and the songwriting and the singing in the world and never achieved it. Because this shit does not look good in Tiger Beat. This shit, if it was in Metal Edge, it would be in black and white. You know? And Danger Danger would get the color shot, you know, the color page.
Well, yeah, I mean, Joey's no Ted Poley.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Ted Poley ain't even a Ted Poley. Fucking Ted Poley. That's a horrible
Ted Poley.
If I had my choice,
what a horrible band.
Hey, if I had my choice, I'd bang Joey Ramone before anybody in a hair band.
Hey, I hear you.
I look at Joey Ramone like Debbie Harry looked at Joey Ramone. He's fucking dreamy.
You know? But that's why, you know, that's why you're so respected, is you'd rather a fucking ugly man than a pretty man.
Of course.
You know?
If I want to fuck a pretty man, I might as well fuck a girl.
Well,
That's real pretty. Give me ugly guy.
It's a cock either way, right?
Good point. Can that be quote of the episode?
I don't know, man. Joey Ramone and Bret Michaels and Dee Dee and Bret Michaels in the same conversation is funny enough, but it's all cock though, right?
But no, I love this song. What do you think, Chris?
Oh, this is a great song, and it's one of my favorite Dee Dee only written songs. He wrote the whole thing, music and words. But no, it's a definitely off the beaten path tune for the band, but I like it. Country-ish, you know, but and the slide solo in the song is one of my favorite parts of it. But and then Jesse Malin did a great cover of it on the tribute album, if you haven't heard it. But no, I like it. It's a good. I like the way this album is sequenced, where it kind of goes from harder to softer stuff back and forth. So I think it's a good album track. Never skip it. I don't skip any of these songs, so I'll just spoil that. But Ralph, have you gone yet on Questioningly?
No.
What do you think of this one?
This song, in my opinion, it proves to me nobody was a better balladeer than Joey Ramone. Nobody can deliver a ballad as good as Joey Ramone, and it's all over Questioningly. You know, the way he sings it, the way he croons it, and it's the originality of it, but I feel it. Joey Ramone had the voice that I would feel the emotion. And I feel it in Questioningly big time. You know? Fucking her eyes looked at me. That's why I bang them. Right there. That fucking voice.
You'd give up that ass. Just right there.
All right. Then we got, yeah, she's the one. Again, what a feel-good tune. You know, the Ramones did that on their first 3 albums, too. They have songs like this, like Sheena's a Punk Rocker and shit like that. I love when they do these type of happy songs, but heavy. And this one's catchy. I love it. One of my favorites on here, too, is She's the One. What do you think, Chris?
I love it. I think this is kind of a sneaky, underrated track in their catalog. I know it never comes up in conversations I see with when people start listing off Ramone songs they like, but it's just it's got a great pop melody to it. It's happy, you know, like I said earlier, when you hear one Ramones song, you start listening to a bunch. At least I do. And this is just a reminder. It just it'll perk if you're in a bad mood or you're sad or something. Listen to the Ramones. You'll feel better. And this is kind of one of those songs that'll do it for you. At least it does for me. What do you think about it, Ian?
Oh, I fucking love it. I think this is classic and surprised this isn't like a more well-known song than it is. And it kind of makes me think like, you know, as much as the Ramones were ahead of their time, they were also behind the time. Because if you wrote a song that had this kind of pop perfection in the 60s, it would have been huge, and they draw a lot from that era.
Oh yeah.
As much as they were, groundbreaking with the punk sound, they always had one foot in 60s, pop music. And this is a perfect track. I mean, again, this would be something that would play on AM radio if it came out in the 60s.
Yeah.
This would be like a Herman's, better than Herman's, but that kind of like, like the Turtles or something, it's like that kind of like perfect songwriting that you don't get anymore. It's just a catchy, perfect, beautiful song. I love it. Now I'll take the next track, Bad Brain. My least favorite track on the album. I don't hate it, but it's like the least memorable, and it's one of those. I mean, all these Ramones songs are so short, like and on to the next. This is one like even reviewing it, like oh shit, I'm writing down my notes, and before I even started the notes for this one, it was on to the next song, and I forgot about it. I mean, it should be noted that this was the inspiration for the name of the classic punk band Bad Brains. Not my favorite. But again, I don't hate, there's nothing like, but to me, it's definitely the weakest track on the album. What do you think, Ralph?
No, I don't feel that way. I love Bad Brain. Fucking great, especially that little drum section. Bad
That's a bit of a curveball, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's so cool and catchy and hooky. It's a fucking phenomenal song. I love the hell out of Bad Brain. Great tune. What do you think, Chris?
I like how overdriven the guitars are on it. It's just like, and especially like after it's got that weird percussion part in the middle. I've grown to like that part. I didn't like it when I first got into the band because that part would always throw me. I'm like, oh, that fucking sounds weird. But then it would go, the guitar that comes back in, you listen to it, like they fucking just amped everything up on that guitar part. It's like, it's just overdriven to the max. I like it though. It's kind of a chaotic song for them, but I never skip it. But it could be I don't know. Yeah, I guess I would call it the weakest track, but it's hard to call anything weak on here, I guess. But yeah, I guess it would be my weakest track on here because I like the last one better than this one. So, which I guess, does that lead me to introing the last one?
Yeah.
Yep.
So that ends up the album with It's a Long Way Back, and with, of course, Dee Dee's background of growing up in West Berlin. Mentions of Germany come into this song, among many other songs, which, of course, led people to think the Ramones were neo-Nazis back in the day. Which I want to get Ralph's thoughts on that. And do you remember, talk of people being outraged over the Ramones and Nazis? Does anyone else think the main riff on this song sounds like Anarchy in the UK?
Yeah, I hear it. You're right.
Never thought about it like that. Good point.
Because that came out like the year before, and there's a whole drama. And like if you watched End of the Century, there's a whole drama with the Ramones and the Sex Pistols. Yeah. And so I'm like, were they like they borrowed from us, so let's borrow from them? I wonder about that. But overall, I love the song, and I think it's a really good song to end the record on. Goes out on a strong note. Does not give you an idea of what the next album's going to sound like because End of the Century sounded very different, but probably had a lot of fans excited when they finished the record. What do you think of this closing album track, Ian?
I love it. I think it's a great closer. Again, another solid track by Dee Dee. Very, I don't know if you could call Dee Dee underrated in the Ramones, but maybe to people who have a surface level knowledge might not realize like how important he was. And
Can I say something real fast? I'm sorry to cut in
go
on
ahead.
you.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
One thing that irritates me, this is another thing where the Ramones don't get the respect they deserve. For everyone's ball licking of Kurt Cobain for his simplistic melodic ideas for songs, which fine, have that opinion. Give the same fucking energy to Dee Dee Ramone because he was doing it long before Kurt was.
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing that gets me. You know, somebody brought this up to me the other day, and I was like, God damn, I never thought of this. Because to me, the Beatles are the only band that changed the world in those 7 years. But then somebody brought this to my attention. I was like, holy shit. He said, dude, Nirvana. I was like, you know what? You're right. I don't think there's any other band but the Beatles and Nirvana that changed the whole landscape. And the Nirvana was doing what fucking the Ramones were doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Oil pissing. Come on, it's all fucking the Ramones. And they threw in a little power pop, the Knack, Cheap Trick.
Oh, and there's Beatles stuff in there. And,
man.
yeah.
And Kurt Cobain got all the credit and changed the world where I Want to Be Sedated should have been the song. That should have been like, I Want to Hold Your Hand in America.
Well, that's what I hate is because like it was like a double-edged sword in the early 90s for the Ramones because all these bands that were breaking big are going, we love the Ramones. We grew up on the Ramones. And the Ramones are like, oh, well, that's nice, but it's not paying my fucking bills, you know? And like they got some opportunities out of it, but I felt bad for them. Like, and then Kiss, of course, like everybody started saying at the same time, oh, I grew up on 70s Kiss. Kiss was able to cash in on that. The Ramones never really were. Outside of Lollapalooza, that was about it.
Well, I mean, you bring up a great point. I mean, yes, the Beatles changed the world, and I do agree, Nirvana changed the world, but you forgot about Manowar bringing homosexuality to the mainstream.
Well, don't leave out Bang Tango either. They had an important part too.
Yeah, but Bang Tango was on the coattails of Manowar.
That's true.
Let's be honest here. Because, Elton John knocked on that door, but, Manowar fucking kicked it in.
Manowar knocked that back door down. Hail and suck up.
But I love this song, man. It's really good. And Dee Dee is probably, I don't know if I would say he's my favorite Ramone, but he might be my favorite Ramone songwriter.
Oh, definitely.
And again, I mean, he wrote, my favorite track, 53rd and 3rd, which is by light years. And that's not taking it lightly, but that is by light years my favorite Ramone song. But I love so many others so much. But he just brought this like punk aesthetic to it that I really gravitate towards too, and very, very underrated. And of course, his work away from the Ramones is spotty at best. But in the context of the Ramones, I mean, just fucking amazing. And this is one, like when I hear that, like if I didn't know Dee Dee wrote this, I wouldn't say like, ooh, this is a Dee Dee song. But I could say that out of all the Dee Dee songs on this album, I don't think sound like 53rd and 3rd or Chinese Rock or like other shit that I would definitely like has that Dee Dee stamp, but it just shows you he was capable of doing way more than just that and had a lot to offer.
Oh, dude, listen to the song Poison Heart. That's a dance. And that's way different than any of this.
Very soul. And I would say, like, even though I know it's not looked upon fondly, but Brain Drain, which I love, the Dee Dee songs are my favorite on that, just he was a unique individual. But I think this is a great way to end the album. And I love, like, you mentioned earlier, Chris, like the flow of this, and all the different shit. And I think it's great. I think the sound of the sonically, this is awesome. This is like, cleaning it up, but there's still, everything sounds like Ramones to me. Yeah. Where I think with End of the Century, even though there's some
it's a departure though.
Yeah, but it's like almost too sterile.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of like I love Let It Be by the Beatles, but I also love Let It Be Naked. Like to hear those songs without all that extra bells and whistles, I still get the same gist of those songs. I mean, yes, the original is ingrained in your fucking head, but to hear just like the basic shit, I could appreciate it too, you know. And that's like, I'd love to hear End of the Century naked, you know, without Phil Spector, you know.
I don't know. See, that's one where I think those songs need all that shit to work, though.
Yeah,
It's more of a project, and it's my favorite Ramones record, but I acknowledge that it's more of a Ramones slash Phil Spector project than a tried and true Ramones record. But then again, Pleasant Dreams has what, Godley and Cream producing it, so that's another
Yeah.
project album. But I love it
Yeah.
too.
Another weird one, yeah, but I love that. What's your fifth favorite Ramones album?
Favorite, well, I mean, I guess I go End of the Century, then Road to Ruin, then Rocket to Russia, then the first album, then probably Pleasant Dreams.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, I like that early 80s era. I do. I love Too Tough to Die, too. That's a great one, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ralph?
Mama's boy.
Mama's Boy is a
Love
great
it.
fucking song.
Somebody put something in my drink.
All right, I'll talk about the last song, but before I do, Ian's there talking about 53rd and 3rd. Here's something I bet both of you don't know about that song.
What?
You know, that song, of course, you know that Dee Dee used to go to a club,
Yeah.
53rd and 3rd, you know, to turn some gay tricks. But
Right.
both of you don't know, that night, the first person to pick him up was actually Joey DeMaio from Manhattan. And
I heard rumors.
And Joey said, no, you ain't going to suck my dick. I'm going to suck your dick, then I'm going to give you a rim job and jerk you off. Right? And Dee Dee said, well, fuck it, I'll do that. And then, you know, Dee Dee let him out. And then the next guy pulled up, which is some random gay guy, right? And Dee Dee ended up killing him, right? That guy he killed was actually a singer in a band. And they replaced him. They had to because he died with Robert Smith, and that band was The Cure.
Now that you say it, it makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Oh boy, I can't wait! Can't wait for Bushy's response to this episode.
Yeah. Yeah, say it to Bushy's face.
All right.
If you can pull it out of a man's crotch.
That's like the biggest reach for a callback, but it worked.
The greatest line that Ian ever said ever was when Bushy was puking on the Jack Daniels. Ian said two things Bushy can't handle: liquor and metal.
Oh,
That was
man.
beyond funny and true.
Well, honestly, I align a lot with Bushy's things that you've made fun of him on, so I can't say much.
Really, you're a Debbie Gibson fan?
I'm not a Debbie Gibson fan.
How
but
about
like,
Milli Vanilli?
no, but we align on like Warrant and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I don't goof on him on that. How about hey Chris? You like OU812 more than Fair Warning? Like Bushy said?
No, and I find it hard to believe that Bushy really feels that way.
I agree with you 100%. I just say he's saying that for shock value.
He wants to piss you guys off. I think
It
that's all
doesn't work though. It's the reason he does that is because we piss him off without even fucking attacking him. He hears us attack Sammy Hagar, and his vagina gets very itchy when we do that, and he gets mad because then his vagina starts bleeding.
That's
Then he attacks.
I'm gonna miss you so much at fucking Rockin' Pod because that is the best. Like everybody ends up at our hotel room by the end of the night.
Well, that's what's fucked up is
like you came in, your brother was there, fucking Metal Mike. Everybody's going in and out. We're just getting drunk and having a good time.
Well, that's the thing. We're looking at getting an Airbnb, so I'm going to be probably your roommate this time. So
yeah, sorry about your luck.
I can't wait to see what I'm in store for this time.
Yeah, Michelle's gonna kill me.
She's going to be there too.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying she's gonna kill me.
Wow.
But hey, at least I
You
got a
can hang.
CPAP now, so I won't snore. You
Oh,
know.
great. Can't wait to hear Ian sounding like fucking Darth Vader.
I've heard it.
Yeah, I bet you have.
No. Ralph mentioned it like the last time I brought my CPAP to the last time we were there, and he was like, "Oh, thank God."
Yeah, man, it was hard sleeper with this guy, man. Sounds like a fucking subway train. It was like that scene in the Blues Brothers. The fucking subway comes by and everything's shaking. That's what it was.
Got my cheese whiz, boy.
Fucked up, man.
Well, that is our review of the Ramones' Road to Ruin. An amazing pick by Ralph, an amazing guest with you, Chris. I could never imagine doing a Ramones episode without you, and I would love to do more and have you back. The sound was released 1978. Did not do that well. Actually did less than Rocket to Russia. I believe that made it to 48 on the charts, and this one was like 120 something. Even though after this, they would go on to be featured in the Roger Corman classic, Rock and Roll High School. But still, they just remain underground. But I mean, we all love this band. We all keep preaching about this band. And that's the best thing we can do is keep spreading the word of the Ramones and hoping we turn, not just, newer kids, but other people who've like just overlooked this band, man. Go back and check this shit out because the Ramones are amazing. They're one of the greatest.
Did you know that the Ramones was the second choice for Rock and Roll High School?
Yeah, Cheap Trick was the first, correct?
Cheap Trick was originally supposed to do it.
They turned them down?
It was the management asked for too much money.
Well, just speaking of that, it sounds like, Kiss was originally approached to be the bad guy band in Sgt. Pepper.
Yeah, I knew that, yeah.
And then Aerosmith.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I knew that.
So they avoided one, movie disaster, but decided to take on another one.
Yeah, it's weird how fucking Kiss didn't do it because Kiss would have fit in right. That movie is such a terrible fucking movie that it's amazing that Aerosmith weathered the storm or that shit.
Nobody brings up Aerosmith.
I love that movie though. I mean, it's so bad.
You're
the
good. One.
I still like it. I hate that fucking movie.
I like it.
The only good thing about that movie is Aerosmith and Earth, Wind, and Fire were awesome.
I liked Alice Cooper doing Because.
Oh, no, I didn't like Because.
I like Roadie better for him. Did you ever see Roadie?
I own Roadie. I was talking about Roadie. What show?
I have the soundtrack, but I've never seen
it. I did Rack Salad reviews talking about the blackout period of.
He was on the From the Inside tour when he filmed that, and that's right after Bernie Taupin turned him on to freebasing cocaine, so he was a mess when he filmed that.
I have Roadie on DVD.
That's
the blackout period, the most overrated period of Alice Cooper.
I loved
it. Fuck off.
Hey, I love Dick Wagner as much as the next guy. I just don't like those albums. Oh, shit. All right. Well, since, Chris, you are our special guest, what would be your pick of the week? What are you trying to turn our degenerate audience onto?
I'm trying to think of, for your audience, I think they would dig this because we just recorded our Best of 2024 episode, so I slogged through a ton of albums that were released last year, and the one I think your listeners would like is a band from the UK called No Favors. Ralph, are you familiar with No Favors?
No.
So they were around in like the late 80s, and then they went on, they broke up, and then they started putting music out again a couple of years ago. And there's a song in particular called My World, Your World, Our World. And it's got like a Wasp vibe, like an early Wasp sound to it. The singer even kind of has a Blackie-ish type voice to him. And it's just big arena rock sounding, kind of Wasps meets Dio from the 80s sound. So check out No Favors.
Cool.
Yeah. As long as it doesn't sound like Crimson Idol, I'm there.
No, it's different. Better than that.
Okay. Good. All right. Ralph, you or me?
I do like Crimson Idol.
I'm going to pick a random thing.
All right. Well, fuck you too. I'm going to do a random thing. Where do you want me to go? To the right or the left?
To the center.
All right.
I think he was telling you to jerk off.
Oh. Ralph's going to love this. This is The Cure. Disintegration. Oh my God, double vinyl. Look at that gatefold. Look at these handsome men.
Is that the gay?
What a bunch of good-looking men on double vinyl, 180 gram. But I got a feeling Ralph doesn't appreciate that one, and I think it's very funny. What he picked earlier. But go ahead. Tell me, do another one. What do you want? Right or the left?
Oh, that's enough. That's enough. I can't take.
I got another one. I think you're gonna laugh at.
I had a bandmate that
set
loved
aside.
Hey, wow.
Over the Edge.
The same thing. Over the Edge. And I didn't even think about the Ramones being on this. I just I picked The Cure as a joke, of course, but I was like, and this was the first vinyl my wife got me when we got back together. This is a Japanese pressing, actually. But love it. Love this fucking movie. Love this soundtrack. I mean, Cheap Trick, The Cars, Van Halen, Jimi Hendrix, the Ramones, Valerie Carter, whoever the fuck that is, Little Feat. Valerie Carter. Oh, she does the version of Oh Child. Great version. Yeah, great version of Oh Child.
Paul Stanley did it on Soul Station.
Yeah, so it's quality. But yeah, Over the Edge. Not only a great movie and a great soundtrack, but something you brought up, Ralph, that I did not know is we both have the amazing Arrow video copy of it on Blu-ray, and Heather Drain, who's going to be a future guest, did a commentary on that. I did not know.
Yeah.
So we can talk to her about that when she's on, but yeah, that's great. When you held that up, I was laughing because I already had this shit set aside. I'm on the fucking garage. I'm not nearby my record and shit.
By the way, what's up with this album cover? Number one, these two aren't in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
These two down here are not in the movie.
Yeah.
This kid smoking pot is in the movie. All right, this one guy in the glasses, that's the mute. And here's Matt Dillon, chick that this was a scene in the movie. I think it's the first time they show Matt Dillon. He's talking to this chick against the wall. They call him, he walks away, and you never see that chick again in the movie. So it's weird, And I said this before. I bought this in 1979. I didn't see the movie till 1983, late night on HBO.
Oh, wow.
And that's when I became, because I was like, God, Over the Edge. What happened with Over the Edge was it was released in theaters roughly around the time as The Warriors.
Yeah, same thing. Yep.
The Warriors were having a lot of problems with gangs and all that shit that they pretty much pulled us out of the theater because of that.
Yeah.
All right, so
are you a fan of Over the Edge, Chris?
I saw it when I was a kid, but I haven't watched it in years. I need to watch it again. I remember liking it when I watched it, though.
All right, what's Ralph going to pick?
I don't know. I'm going to ask you guys. This side, that side, up, down.
That side.
Yeah.
Down the bottom. Down the bottom.
No, I can't. That's box sets down there. Second to the bottom.
All right.
Okay, there you go.
Right there.
That one.
Hey.
I
Son, the ultimate summer album with Van Halen 2. We're talking Diver Down. And I'd like to say a big fuck you to everybody that says there's too many covers. Have you heard the original versions of Where Have All the Good Times Gone? Dude, Dancing in the Street is actually an original Van Halen song with the melody of Dancing in the Street. Fucking Big Bad Bill doesn't sound like the original. Fuck all you people. This album fucking owns. Thank you.
Well, yeah, and for people to bitch about there's too many covers, hey, there's no covers on For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, and that shit sucks.
Exactly. It all sucks.
Well, and also they were going to take that year off, and Dave goes, "Hey, let's record some covers." So either enjoy it or you didn't get an album that year.
Yep.
I'm happy we got it.
Plus, it's got fucking Secrets and The Full Bug and Hang 'em High and
I love the full.
goddamn little guitars.
Little guitar. God, what a
more than 84.
No, I wouldn't say that.
I do. I like it more than 84. It's got that brown sound.
No, I love the sound of it.
It does. To me, I don't. It's neck and neck for that and Fair Warning. That to me is the epitome of the Brown sound. You know.
Yeah, but Diver Downs is full of Brown sound.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love it.
Hell yeah! You know, if I'm going to pick something random, you know it's going to fucking roll. I just proved that.
There you go. Well, that's why I knew down there because I knew the M's were up there. So I'm like, I'm not taking a chance on that shit.
M's are on the top.
I know. Oh, I know.
And
I know.
And all the Ross the Boss Man Awards are there.
Oh boy.
And one later with the pedophile guitar player. I have one of those too.
All right. Well, now we got to go into fan of the week. And fan of the week, I mean, even to call him, you know, a fan is unfair. He's a peer to us, and that is the amazing co-host Chris Czynszak. You know, we talked about Rockin' Pod memories and all that shit and all the cool things about doing the show and turning people on to new music. But, you know, one of the most important aspects is the friendships that we made through doing this show. And, you know, there's been, you know, no greater ally to our show, no greater supporter, you know, than you. And I've said this many times when we were in the infancy of this amazing thing that's called the Rock and Metal Combat Podcast. I reached out to you. You were always there with a helping hand and very nice. But more importantly than that, we both, you know, we developed this great friendship. I mean, you're one of my, you know, closest friends and something people might not realize. I mean, we talk all the time. And
Yeah.
not only like, you know, podcast shit, but real life shit. And we're very involved in each other's lives and what's going on. And, man, you are one of the greatest things that's come from this show is Ralph and I's friendship with you. And it's amazing. And, you know, a testament to that, even when Ralph and I were on our break and had our little bitch fight, you were still there for both of us.
Yeah,
You know?
I had to be the go-between. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and let that be a lesson to all you dimwits out there. Me and Ian were fighting, right? Ian was friends with Chris. I was friends with Chris. Did Ian get mad I was friends with Chris? Did I get mad Ian was friends with Chris? And another reason why this Chris guy is such a cool motherfucker, but I shouldn't even have to say this about Chris because everybody should be this way, how Chris is. Chris knows how much I think Crazy Nights is dog shit. No.
If you don't listen to the episode.
I also know how much you're wrong about it, but that's fine.
And there he is. That's a man right there. You're wrong. I did Crazy Nights. Whatever. Unlike some people that will unfriend me if I don't like what they like.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
Hey, I didn't say anything about Oasis. I mean, never mind.
Privately, Chris said no, but, you know, he's still friends with you.
No, I don't claim that song. I hate that song.
And Ian is in the same boat, man. I mean, how much more can I goof on fucking The Cure and him goof on Manowar? We don't give a flying fuck. He's still going to be shoving stuff up his ass like Ace Frehley and listening to The Cure. And I'll be listening to Manowar all lubed up and shit.
Thanks for the visual.
Hell yeah.
That's a thing. Real men and real friends, that shit bounces off. You laugh at it. You do all this shit. If you get offended by anything we do, tough shit, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you.
You know?
Well, and I will say, you know, I'm not going to go into salesman mode for Rockin' Pod, but that's one of my favorite things about Rockin' Pod is like every year we've had people that are polar opposites on their beliefs on everything. And like, I know, and there's even been cases because when you're the guy promoting it, you hear all the dirt from both sides of things. So I heard about feuds that most people may not even realize exist, but like I would hear about these feuds between these people and like, well, I don't like so-and-so, they're coming to Rockin' Pod. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, what do you want me to do about it? I'm like, if you don't want to come, fine. But if you can't be an adult for a few hours in a building, that's not my problem. But anyway, 9 times out of 10, the people would still show up. And the thing I always love about it, everyone drops their stupid online agenda and realizes we're all just human beings. We all love rock and roll. and we're all there to have a good time, and we all have a good time, and it blows me away every time. Like everyone gets along great for 3 days, and then we all go back to hating each other online. But it's like, you know what? At least we have those 3 days, and I hang on to those. So
They
join us in
hate us
April.
because they ain't us.
Some
Yeah,
people can't
I
handle.
see what you did there.
Some people like I ain't naming names, but you know, me and Ian hung out with somebody, cool dude, nothing wrong with him. But boy, once he gets back online,
No, I'm not commenting on that situation.
no, I'm just saying. Some people go when they go back online.
Well, it's
Not like what they are in person.
people aren't the same as they are in real life.
They grow
hell yeah.
balls behind a computer screen.
And let's not forget all the shit that Chris took, you know, when you were like the guy for Rockin' Pod. The shit he took from other podcasts that were just upset that you and me were going to be there. And Chris always had our back. And I'm not going to mention podcasts, but I'll say it does rhyme with Rock Strikes 10.
Hey, I don't know what podcast it was, but there was some podcast that said, I'm not going to Rocket Pod if Ian and Ralph was there. And we were the ones that paid for their plane ticket.
Yeah. Well, that's
I'm not getting into that. All I'll say is
I'm not mentioning their name, but it rhymes with Rock Strikes 10.
Oh, that's fine. It's your show. You say what you want.
All I know is that me and Ian are hated by posers as well.
All I'm saying is those of you that hate on these guys don't realize the real people behind them and who they are. So these are real life friends of mine, and you know, like Ralph definitely came to Aaron and I's rescue when we got stranded in fucking Fort Lauderdale. So you know, it's certain things that we've all been through, real life stuff. We've texted each other and stayed in touch. So that's, you know, those are the friendships that you hold on to. So, you know, as far as drama with other shows and all that, anyone who's come to Rockin' Pod in the past, I appreciate you. Don't get me wrong. Whatever these guys say about other shows on their show, that's their business. So I'll leave it to them.
Hey,
what's that midget's fucking name?
I really should have gone into politics, shouldn't I?
What's that midget? Michael Butler, that fucking piece of shit. He said he beat me up. I fall on that motherfucker.
Oh, I forgot you guys had drama with him. I always remember the table thing, but I forgot you guys had a whole thing with him.
Yeah, you know, somebody went on Twitter pretending to be me.
I remember that. Yeah.
And I know who it was.
Yeah, we've talked about it.
He thought it was me.
No, yeah. No, he thought it was me. But then when he saw you, he thought you were me.
Yeah.
But look, bottom line is Chris Czynszak and Aaron Camaro from Decibel Geek.
The Golden Voice.
If it was somebody else, like those crybabies that didn't want fucking Ian and I at Rockin' Pod, if it was them, they would not have picked you and Aaron up because the mom would not appreciate that because they still live with their moms. And they eat Hot Pockets that their moms make them. But me, fuck Hot Pockets.
You don't have, come on, you got to have some Hot Pockets at your house, Ralph.
No, I don't. I don't. I refuse. Unless I go live with my mom again.
Then you'll eat them.
Hot Pockets.
Yeah. We burned our mouth on Hot Pockets, but we heat them up our fucking selves.
I didn't know Hot Pockets were a rite of passage to adulthood. This is news to me.
It's like getting stoned and eating Fruity Pebbles. Everybody's got to do it.
I'll do that now.
All right. Well, Chris, again, man, I love you, brother. I can't wait to see you at Rockin' Pod. So sad that my brother in arms here is not going to be there, but he will be there in spirit. And maybe we can even do like a Zoom interview. You know, maybe you can step outside from what you got to do and get on your phone and be part of an interview.
We need to get a Ralph mask made, so whoever sits at the table has to wear it while they interview the person.
Or we'll just get
a doctor's coat.
A doctor's coat and coattails.
Hey, why don't you just get Josh Toomey? That guy was scab Dr. Fuck.
Oh boy, you guys are going scorched earth on everybody
today. Hey, this is Rockin' Pod. We can't afford to get Toomey there.
He's a big deal these days.
Is he?
Yeah, working for Slipknot now.
Look at that.
Your favorite?
Look at that. A diet Dr. Fuck is working for fucking Slipknot now. That's wild.
That's right.
Stuff.
And you can't even roadie for the Greg Kinn band. God damn it.
Dude,
That's Greg Kinn band. I don't think they're going to be touring anytime soon, Ian.
Oh, why? Because he's dead?
He died.
That's a good song.
I love the breakup
I love that
song.
shit.
That's a great
Jeopardy.
song.
They don't make it like that anymore.
I like the Weird Al version of Jeopardy.
Whatever, man. You know that Eddie and the Boozers don't let me anywhere near their shows.
So why have I not?
No.
How have I not booked Eddie and the Boozers for Rockin' Pod yet?
You can't afford me.
Oh, you're probably right there.
You can't afford me to get up there and make an ass out of myself.
I can't afford Vinny Vincent either.
You can.
What are you talking about? You did that shit for free.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, I saw this video. I think it was Mark Dowley put it up. We were doing "You Can't Stop Rock and Roll" in Nashville, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
In the middle of it, fucking Ian turns into David Lee Roth. He's going, "Jiminy wop wop," and I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Live in front of your naked, steaming eyes.
you made an ass out of yourself for free.
Well, we're doing that jam thing together. Again this time we're gonna do it at SIR in Nashville. And
I know.
Ron Keel wants to jam with the podcasters, so that should be.
Oh
fun.
God. Oh God. That's all we need Killfest for.
I was gonna say,
Lee McCormick sent me a text. He goes, you got to pick a song to do. And boy, I'm thinking of so much like weird shit to do.
Do David Lee Roth. Do Just a Gigolo. That's exactly what he did in the middle of a twist.
He had to get Dave in there somewhere.
Oh boy, what a wacky ass dude.
I'm just a gigolo, and Bushy hates niggeros.
Dude.
What the hell was that?
True story. Hey, not me. I love everybody except the French.
Self-hating motherfucker.
Fucking Bushy.
Well, anyway, thank
All
you,
right.
Mr. Sizzler.
Thanks, guys. It was a blast. I needed this.
Yes.
Joining us, and sorry I can't make it this year.
We're gonna miss you, man. Well, I'm sure we're gonna blow up your phone with drunk dialing through the whole weekend.
Oh yeah.
You have that to look forward to.
No, I mean,
we're gonna drunk dial the shit out of this motherfucker.
No, man, I'm gonna turn off my phone.
Yeah, you'd probably be smart to.
Yeah, the bitch would be when you turn it back on. It's like beep, 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 beep.
Yeah. It'll be 100. My mailbox will be full.
And then next thing you know, like Lee finds a way to show up. Hello, Ralph.
I'm gonna send you a bunch of dick pics, but it's all gonna be Mark Daly.
Yeah, it's just pictures of Mark Daly. That's the dick.
Yeah,
all right. Well, if you enjoyed this,
Ian, you got to help me bring that old school Rockin' Pod spirit back. We got to rally these new people and show them how it's done.
Oh yeah. We'll separate, the pussies from the cirrhosis of the liver. We'll do it.
You need to infiltrate the podcaster group and say, "Hey, shape up because I'm coming."
Yeah. But man, thank you so much for being here. And if you enjoyed this episode, come back next week to the Rock and Metal Combat Podcast.
Oh my God.
Love you guys.
Love you too, brother.
All right.